Jeez.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Zyori Podcast. This is podcast number 128. We're here at the TI-8 Hub in the BTS studio. We've got a special guest, Cinderin, and we're doing a live podcast, the rare treat indeed that it is. How art thou, boys?
I'm here because I was told. Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Good.
Welcome.
Good. I have no idea what we're talking about, but that's...
Well,
neither do we. That's how we start all of these.
So,
it's great.
Okay.
Originally, when I told Trent I wanted him to join me on the podcast, the idea was he writes the content and I react to it. And then after doing that, never. We realized
What?
it's
You told
better
me
if it's
that?
just off the cuff. Well, that was the original idea. Maybe I never presented it that way.
Yeah,
but that's
you
how I saw
definitely
it in
never
my
told
head.
me that.
Okay.
But
Design,
okay.
It's like you can't write for
Yeah,
shit,
that's
so.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So.
No, we just realized off the cuff is the way to go. We just let it spiral into any direction we want.
Okay.
But there's a lot of Dota 2 to talk about. Sind, how's your Dota experience been? You've been on EU. We've been on China and C. We haven't watched a lot of each other's regions, so let's cross-pollinate a little bit. Let's cross the streams.
Well, our qualifier is really exciting. It's about who can have a chance at beating OG.
Yes.
Pretty much.
I saw Kingwin get slapped by him last night.
Yeah, they got slapped, and then today they got slapped again and again, so they're out. Spoilers.
Oh,
I don't know if we
shit.
should talk about results, but...
You can
You can talk about
Okay.
results.
Yeah.
Let's just assume they know everything.
Okay, so basically the status right now is OG won 2-0, and then they won 2-1. They actually did lose a game.
Okay.
So they're now 11-1, but they lost. They lost one game to Wind and Rain, where they got cheesed
okay.
by a 10th pick Huskar that was uncounterable in the game.
That's
Excellent.
the Ritsu team, right?
And OG had the
Yep.
excellent choice of putting Ember Spirit or Monkey King against it.
Oof.
And they went with Monkey King, and they got trashed.
Yeah.
Great.
And because they went with Monkey King, they also got trashed in their safe lane as Ember against Doom. So
Wow.
that was tough.
That's
and then they
pretty
were
tough
like, oh,
situation.
well, we got trashed. And then they just proceeded to destroy 2 games in about 20 minutes each after that. So,
Okay.
I mean,
they're still in the finals.
I saw they went 6-0 on the first day of the group stage.
Yeah.
And that's like the dream, the best
Yep.
way to start. I mean, they are far and large the best team in the qualifier.
Unless some team magically improves by a lot, they
Now-
will not lose.
I don't know why, but I did put Kingwin in my compendium.
That was a mistake.
I don't know why either.
Wishful thinking. I wanted to see my boy. I want to see Exotic Deer at TI.
If you saw their drafts, you would have not put them in the compendium.
I did not look at their drafts.
Okay,
no,
you should. It's a treat. Do it.
Okay.
It's a treat.
That's the Polish squad, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
then.
yes.
Polish,
They,
but their drafts are not exactly polished.
Oh!
Look at the
jeez.
linguistics.
I tell you, this
Man,
guy.
you guys were just playing
I'm
code
fucking
name.
made
making
for a
puns
podcast.
in his fucking second language. This guy's he
Let's
embarrasses
go.
us all.
Yeah, it's rough. So C and China have both been exciting, kind
Yeah.
of. China group stage was pretty lackluster, I have to admit. There were some pretty slow,
Yeah.
unexciting games that ended anticlimactically, but the playoffs in China were super hype. We saw Team Serenity; they made it all the way. Did you see any of
Yep.
those games?
I think I saw one of the games against IG in the finals.
Is it too early to call them Wings Junior?
Mm,
Because people are already calling them Wings Junior.
they're creative, at least. That's good.
Yeah.
Kingwin were also creative.
Yeah.
That wasn't so good. But they were creative and won. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's
It's just so easy to label them that, you know.
I know.
We don't have that much info about the region and everything. So.
You know what? I kind of like it because it means people get hyped about them.
Exactly.
There you
People
go.
care
It draws
about
attention to the team because else you go into TI and people are like, who the hell is Serenity?
Yeah.
I've never heard of these guys before. But everybody's like, oh, it's Wings Junior. It's this Chinese team that's really creative. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I got to watch their games. Wings were really good.
And it is kind of cool on this circuit because so many Chinese teams qualified through DPC. Was it 5? Am I crazy? Is it 4? Four. LGD, Newbie, VG.
VGJ Thunder.
Okay, so 4. But still, that's a
Yeah.
lot. And it's kind of cool to have a storyline now where there's this underdog, like this is a proper dark horse type
Yeah.
storyline going into TI. And imagine if they do well and upset some of those DPC teams. Imagine if they slaughter VGJ Thunder in the groups. That would be hype.
Well, I think they will.
I feel like Serenity is the type of team that's definitely going to take games off the top teams, but I don't
Yeah.
know how many.
Yeah.
It's the one thing I feel like is always extremely hard going into TI is predicting anything about placements, just because footage is going to be extremely far and in between. That's not the saying. What's it called again?
Few and far
Few
between.
and far in between. There we go. Far and in between.
It was close.
Yeah, it's my second language. So, yeah, there's not going to be much to look at. Maybe there will be some teams at the summit or something, but I don't even know what TI teams are even going to go.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows yet.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, that's the last tournament before TI that I can think of, unless there's something on the docket that I haven't
There
heard
is
about.
supposed to be an MPGL, but it's not
Okay.
after the summit,
And
it's
that's only a
only
regional.
C teams, and it's only like tier 2 C teams
Okay.
that aren't.
So
even,
Summit is.
yes,
Okay.
but it's a LAN.
Yeah. Apart from that, there's not much footage. So a team like Serenity that looks great right now might look good on the patch, but what do they look like in 2 months? Like,
Yeah.
look how much the scene has shifted in 2 months already,
Yeah,
and it's going to happen
true.
again. There'll be 2 or 3 patches before TI probably after this, and who the hell knows who's going to favor? If laning is still going to be extremely important and the game is very snowbally, I think VP is going to do great. I think Liquid are going to do great. I think apart from that, you don't know. Like, a lot of the teams that are doing well right now seem to play well in the early game. For example, OG are doing much better right now at playing aggressively and fast and taking advantage of laning than they used to. So this new version of OG is a lot hungrier to pressure and yeah, make their opponents respond to them. Especially a player like Thompson is basically just like a sponge in the game. He draws so much attention to his lane. It's kind of ridiculous to see what he gets away with in some games. Sometimes he dies to 4 heroes, and he's like, okay, I died to 4 heroes, so what, you know?
Yeah.
So the game is in this place right now where a lot of games are very close to being decided minute 10, minute
Feels
15.
like that.
It's very snowbally right now, and I feel like that is going to change. I don't think you want this to be a TI patch, so I'm sure Valve will want to change something.
Yeah.
Yeah, TI4.
We've seen that one.
See, the thing about TI4 is that it's remembered for the last day.
Yeah.
The group stage and the whole round robin and the bubble race was actually really good.
It was very exciting.
The tournament was super good, except the last 2 days.
Yep.
And everyone remembers the last 2 days.
Well, that's because those are the most hype days. You know, the whole tournament culminates in that grand finals. Who's going to get the life-changing first place money? I mean, all of it's life-changing, but first place is fuck you life-changing.
You know, the thing that would be cool is if when the teams get close to the end of the tournament and they kind of figure the patch out, if they figured out it's a patch where you just need to go full bloodbath mode, because those finals will be great.
Yeah.
But not if it's, oh, we need to push towers, 6 towers in 10 minutes, and then we win. Not as exciting.
That's true.
So
It kind of feels like that. If you can get that control now, those bounty runes, you know, the laid back. That was what was happening in a lot of our China games, was people would just kind of get an advantage, hold really hard, and for every single Roche, get every single bounty over and over. We went 3rd Roche every game for the group stage.
Yeah, it was just like, hey, if we don't have a definitive advantage or a definitive game plan of attack, our default is play it safe and farm the next round of items. And when both teams are doing that game after game, you end up with exactly what Trent just described, where it's like, we're getting 3rd Roche pretty much guaranteed. No one feels comfortable pushing high ground until they have Refresher Shard, 2 cheeses, and an Aegis.
But generally, the team that gets the 5k lead first will win, because they're going to push,
Yeah,
or they're going to pressure the
Roche.
map and get the bounty runes. And then they have 10k gold 5 minutes later, and then they have 15k gold 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
And it just keeps snowballing like that. So I think what the game needs right now is either for lanes to be less impactful than they are right now, where a lot of games are just feel decided based on a lot of denies or lane pressure, or bounty runes need to be less rewarding. So that even if you build an advantage, you have an advantage, that's good. It's not an auto win.
Do you like these bounties more than what they were in the last iteration? Every 2 minutes?
I like the idea of them more. I just think maybe the values are off, or the way the game goes based on laning is off. Like, imagine you change denies. The bounty runes right now might actually be fine. Because then
it's true.
The type of advantage you're getting from lane right now is kind of ridiculous. And you wouldn't get that advantage if denies were less important. The lanes would go more evenly. You would see different picks. And then bounty runes is something you fight over because the game is even. Right now, the team that's ahead just gets them.
Yeah.
It's almost like the leading team will get 3 or 4 every single time.
Yeah.
And it pushes the game.
I've also been surprised at how diverse the hero selections have been. The metas are very different across the regions right now, and that's always been the case at pretty much every TI qualifier, but usually they'll start to cross-pollinate a little more, and by the last few, you've got a pretty stable, okay, we're seeing Sand King every game. Okay, we're seeing Drow first picked or first banned every game. And that's not the case. In some regions, she is literally first pick, first ban material, and others we're seeing Enigma first pick, first ban, completely ignored in other regions.
Okay.
See? And C, literally, they're like grabbing Enigma, first pick, they counterpick it with a silencer, they're like, we don't really care. We're just pushing.
Yeah.
Forget about Black Hole.
Enigma. So we had a support Enigma. We had Universe played it a couple times now, too.
Yep.
Just in the off lane.
It's like a bully off lane. Imagine an Enigma Wind Ranger. Have fun playing against that. Eidolons are pretty fucking good at denying creeps.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are.
It's really hard to lane against. So, but it speaks to just the diversity of not only the heroes, but the general strategies people are going for. And using heroes in unconventional manners. It's pretty exciting. This is a fun time to be watching Dota, man.
But it feels like a lot of the drafting that's going on is targeting the same goal, which is winning lanes. They just do it in different ways.
Yep.
Like we saw a team like Wind and Rain first phase Morphling, and he has a 30-30 CS in lane minute 5.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, what do you really do?
What do you think about all the Huskar picks?
They're generally a 10th pick. Sometimes they're 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
And you pick it when you see 3 cores that can't lane against him, because then you have 5k gold advantage minute 10.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And then Huskar wins.
We had one game last night that was really interesting where Entity found the Huskar 10th pick for Penguin Check, and it looked pretty good, but what they did was they ended up just dual laning the Huskar. They just brought a Wind Ranger support mid, gave him a Null Talisman early, and just kept running at him over and over. Just like really slowed down those first 3 levels.
Didn't anyone help?
Eventually, but it was a CM.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
There's your problem.
There's your
You
problem.
picked garbage maiden.
Yep.
You don't like CM, huh? We've
Or
been seeing her
Crystal
creeping up
Harvested.
in Southeast Asia.
I haven't seen her picked in any other region.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
Pi was playing it. Noya was playing it. Or
Really?
no,
Yeah.
sorry. Noya picked it. It was played by Joe Beasy.
Yeah. But multiple different teams prioritizing Crystal Maiden like 2nd or 3rd in a draft. We saw a 2nd pick CM yesterday.
I mean, that's where you got to pick her anyway. I mean, it's not like you're going to hold out for her.
I mean,
Jeez.
I guess.
But I would just
Interesting.
recommend not personally. But obviously, they found a way. The spam. Maybe it's that whole idea, lane control, having the extra mana.
It does seem pretty good against PL. That was the one application we felt like CM really stepped up.
Yeah, it was
Because
alright.
he can't
It's pretty good.
doppelganger out of route anymore, so that's big. And you go like the 3-2-1 build, so you get the max, well, close to max Crystal Nova. Really good for killing the illusions.
The attack slow
Freezing
is
Field's
really
nice,
good
too.
against the illusions too.
Yep.
Just like slows the
And
damage down
It's
a
one
lot.
support that PL needs to be careful with going on. Freezing Field can punish you really fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no doubt. So how about this hub, man? We're stretched out over basically twice as long as past hubs. Do you like this format, Mr. Synderen? I mean, you've cast, you've played, you've had the full spread of TI qualifiers.
Is
this format better?
From this perspective, I would have liked to have a day or 2 off because I feel like we're working many days straight.
Yeah.
And there's time zone changes and whatnot. And even if you're playing around it, it's kind of difficult, right?
Even
'Cause
just a 1-day break between
Yeah,
the first
something
heat and
like
the
that.
second heat would have
Would've
felt
been nice.
nice.
That would be
Although
nice.
Trent's
That's
thinking,
true.
that's another day away from my baby, you fucks.
That is also true. Yeah, I'm ready
Well,
to,
Yeah.
Everyone
Well,
wants to go
it's
back
hard
home.
to please everyone. People want different things. Some people want it
That's
to go
true.
faster. Some people want it to go slower. I mainly just want it to be comfortable.
Yeah. Well,
That's
so
what's
would
one
you
thing.
say breaking it in half is more comfortable from a talent perspective? Because before, hubs were actual chaos. You're just like China and C are going on at the same time. You're sort of getting little tidbits of other regions, but it's just so much Dota. I found it overwhelming to follow. And this one, I felt like I captured more of the event.
Yeah. From a viewer standpoint, this is definitely better because you get to select your regions that you want to follow, and they
Yeah.
get their own coverage that isn't like clouded.
You
by
can
other
realistically watch a third of it instead of a sixth of it.
Yes. This time we did have a little bit of trouble because of the South American delays. That did
That's
screw
true.
with
It would have been
everything a
even
little bit.
better.
But if we didn't have that, the schedule would have been a lot nicer. It did push things a bit and pressure some people a bit more in their like just day schedules.
Yeah.
Basically, with getting good sleep and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
I think it's an upgrade, though. I mean, when you think about it in the context of these are the qualifiers for our Super Bowl, the biggest event of the year, what we've been watching events leading up to for the last 8 or 10 months, I'm kind of glad we get to watch more of the qualifiers. I always feel like it's a little bit of a shame that I go to the hub and then people ask me questions about it. And I'm like, honestly, I don't remember anything. It was just
Yeah.
Dota overload.
It's a whirlwind.
Yeah, whirlwind. That's a good word for it.
Well, that's because I was just playing code names. Synderen.
There you
We
go.
were bonding.
You guys were primed.
Yeah, we were getting each other's head.
Yep.
Trying to
Yeah.
figure some shit out. Didn't
But
quite
we
work. We lost.
Yeah, and
but it was great.
Yeah. It was
It's
good.
also a different hub experience. Like, I feel like I have less social burnout. The old the TI6 hub or the TI7 hubs when it's just 20 people all 24/7 just jam packed in this little tiny house. It's overload. By the end of it, you're just
Yeah.
like, don't talk to me. I just want to read a book and sit in silence for a little while. And this one, it's the schedule's reasonable. We get to play some pubs afterwards. We get to rage at randoms.
Yeah,
Let
instead
all
of
that
working
out.
like 12 or 13 hours, most of us are working like 8 to 9 or something like that.
I think
It's not
having
that bad.
PCs really helps too.
Yeah,
like
that's
being able to stream, right? Getting some value time in when you're off shift
That was nice. Yeah.
feels
For
good.
sure.
Being
Yeah.
able to do this.
Yeah.
Thanks, BTS.
Getting to play some games downstairs, all the board games, having
Yeah.
some fun. I love
That's
Sushi Go.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Fun
one.
game.
Codenames is better.
Codenames, they're different.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
they are different.
Yeah, but I get different enjoyment out of them. It's
I
like,
do as well. I get more out of one of them.
I like Sushi Go because of I like the individual plays in Sushi Go. I kind of like that, being on your own team and
Yeah.
trying to fuck the people
They're-
on your
yeah,
sides
They're
and
both
everything.
really fun.
But yeah, Codenames is better overall. I'll give you that.
So can we talk about macros a little bit?
Oh, the
Sure.
macros.
So I guess the quick TLDR, South America, Attune has been using macros on Huskar and Meepo, I guess, are the main two. He got caught in the qualifiers. The Meepo one was the big one because he was poofing instantly. When you watch the footage, it's
Yeah.
pretty obvious. It's just not humanly possible to poof them all at the same time. So a macro is basically like you have a little script that binds multiple actions to one key. So you press one key and then a lot of things happen on your computer. So it's not cheating in the sense of like a map hack or it's playing for you, but it does give you an inherent advantage compared to like playing against a human trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, it makes a hero that should have a certain skill ceiling or certain reasons why it's balanced that way become unbalanced.
Yes.
In some senses.
So the official ruling was disqualification. He's not banned or lifetime banned or anything like that. Just disqualification. That's true, not yet. But I guess there's been no statement either way. But they've been removed from the qualifiers. And, well, I guess that's kind of the big chunk of it. And there was some little drama. Draskell got slapped around by Reddit for saying that something about – I didn't even watch the clip,
so
actually.
Things got misunderstood a decent amount, I think, because we were discussing it on the panel. I was on the panel, too.
Oh, you were? Oh,
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, I was. And basically what Draskell said was none of us endorsed scripting or hacking in any form. Like, there's no way.
I mean, that just doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, but there's no way. Like, why would we stand for that? Like, we care as much about the integrity of the game as anybody else. What the discussion was is this specified in the rules that this is considered cheating or not? That was the discussion. And one of the things Andrew brought up was that he didn't think that the script usage changed the outcome of the game. But that's not really the point of the punishment. It was just a comment he threw in there.
Right.
And some people interpreted that as, oh, Draskell is okay with cheating. That's not what he said.
Yeah.
He just said, I don't think that's why they won.
Yeah,
I think in order to use this poof thing with a script, you still need to be good at playing Meepo. And he's not wrong. You can't just give a 3K player that script and be like, go play TI qualifier. It's going to get fucking destroyed. Like, it doesn't work that way, but it gives an advantage. And then the discussion is about, okay, what do you call a cheat? Is it a cheat if I have a macro key on my keyboard called whatever that I press, and I have mapped it to perform multiple actions? Because I am still in control of what's happening. It's my conscious decision, and I don't have any more information in the game than other players. So there's no map hack. There's no cheating in the form of like auto spell casting or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could make the argument that, okay, this is like a hardware thing that other players can use as well. They could also do that. Is it an advantage if you have a mouse with 6 buttons because it's easier? Is that a hardware advantage that you can press keys faster and easier? Because everyone is allowed to use whatever hotkeys they want. They're allowed to use whatever gear they want. But this was considered a cheat because it is a script that you basically program. And they used, I think Atune used Razer Synapse, which just comes with the Razer mice.
Yeah.
And he basically had his mouse. And he said, oh, I have this tool that I can press a button and it basically does multiple things. So, you know, you just, I basically just lined up the criteria of what I told, okay, this is what happened, and these are the possible outcomes. I was like, either it's okay, it's considered wrong, but since it was a first case thing, and we haven't really had anything like this before, they get a free pass, and after that, it's punishable, and it's just instant DQ, similar to Solo and the 322 scandal.
Yeah.
Or they're like, this is considered a cheat, you used it in this series, you lose the series, go to lower bracket because you used it in the series. Or there's just flat out zero tolerance, you're full out DQ'd. One of those three things would happen. And what I think ended up giving the full DQ ruling was that there was evidence that he had used it in multiple games, not only in that one series. Because if he would have used it in only that one series, they might just have said, you lose this series, if you do this again, you're out.
Yeah, I can see that.
They dug back into previous games that he had played Huskar in. So it started raising questions about... it started raising questions about, were they legit in this position, or would they not have made it if it weren't for scripts? So they just took the safe choice, they full-on DQ'd them, and that's just a shit situation. I really hope Atune doesn't get like lifetime banned or anything like that, because I feel like when you read the rules, it wasn't like specifically described in them. There was like some ambiguity.
It says unfair advantage, I believe was the term.
You are not allowed to get an unfair advantage, and you're not allowed to use third-party programs that give you an unfair advantage. Is this a third-party program that gives you an unfair advantage? It is a third-party program.
Yeah.
But how it's just
but at the same time,
just up for debate.
That
right?
same program calibrates everyone's mouse. Like I have a button on my mouse to change the sensitivity. Right? Is that an unfair advantage?
And that's the thing. When you read that, I can see how you could interpret it as third-party software that I've gone out of my way to find, install. I think of like Diablo 2 hacks. You know, I'm running this little program in the background, and I click God mode, and I'm unkillable.
Do we all agree that armlet toggling and the poof is an unfair advantage? I definitely think it's
I think
unfair
it's
advantage.
against the spirit of the competition.
I agree with the disqualification.
I agree that it's an unfair advantage, but I think the problem is that it wasn't specified and defined beforehand. Because there's actually a lot of other tournament rules that specifically say scripting such as macros or like these keybind programs are not allowed. But this one, they just had like this soft approach. It's like, if it gives you an unfair advantage. It's like saying, like, what's an unfair advantage? Once again, is it unfair that I have a mouse key? Like,
that is,
I mean, where do you draw the line? Like, you have to specify where the line is, or else people will discuss it, or maybe cross it, maybe not. at the same time, I think Atune is at fault because if he's uncertain, if this is a borderline case, and he's like not 100% certain that what he's doing is allowed, he should ask.
Yeah.
He should actually ask, I'm using this. The rules are a bit ambiguous. Am I allowed to do this or not? And if they say no, he doesn't do it.
It's true.
And if they say no and he does it, he fucked up. Like, then you're just out. Like, then I don't care, you know?
Yeah. My problem is I just think it's really clear that there's no way that's going to be fair. I mean, you are using a software to press 2 keys for you in a game because there is a skill-based thing of a toggle or a skill-based thing of doing that really quick. So taking that away obviously is unfair. So to me, it was just like he never should have been doing that. And if they had banned him, I would have understood that, honestly. Like, because it's just the same thing as match fixing. Just because Valve never said it, match fixing is wrong. Valve never said you can't use macros, but it's fucking wrong. Like, you have to press keys on Invoker. If you have a thing that presses the keys for you,
it seems obvious, but
I
at
don't
the
know,
same
I
time,
it's pretty clear.
I feel like it's a different magnitude, though. Like, it's something else.
It is a match fixing,
To me, this is a different league from if you used a map hack.
Yes.
Definitely. Or a spellcasting
And I'm
cheat,
glad
you know?
they didn't ban him.
So
But if they did, I could have understood Valve's reasoning.
I can understand if it does happen, but the most important thing out of all of this is that I really hope his team doesn't get punished.
True.
Yes.
And I don't think they will.
I think what happened in the match fixing situations was that there was research, like they did some digging to find out who was actually involved. So if you were playing for a team where others were match fixing, but you were not in on it or not benefiting directly, you got a free pass. I think some of the teams that had match fixing scandals, only 4 players out of 5 got banned.
Yeah.
I think there was one instance where 3 got banned.
Yeah, Arrow, I think.
Arrow, I think it was exactly 3. So, and that's just how it is. And in those situations, I'm just like 0 tolerance. You know the rules. There's no question about this. It's been specifically stated. Everybody knows what's going on. You took this risk. You got caught. You're out.
Yeah.
And then we can discuss if the ban should be lifetime or not, or if it should be like 2 years like it is in other things. But
I'm not
whatever it is, the punishment should just be there.
Generally speaking, I don't like the idea of the lifetime ban unless it's really, really gross. And I think in the context of Dota, a 2 or 3 year ban is almost as good as lifetime. I mean, a lot changes in 3 years, and you might not even be as good as you are now in 3 years. You know, so there are ways you can calibrate it. I think with this one, my only counter-argument, Trent, if they had lifetime bandom, is what's the logical explanation for not just writing better rules? Because to me, that I hate to say this,
you can't write a rule for everything.
You can't, but I think you can do better than anything with an unfair
I think
advantage.
theirs was bad.
To me, that sounds like we don't really have a great excuse for this because we really should put more effort into it.
In terms of like the Valve TOS, I believe they also have things in there that say you can't use macros and you can't use things that do like multi-button, blah, blah, blah.
I'm just saying
there was some more depth to it.
It would do us all a favor if it was better fleshed out. Because I do agree, you can't capture everything. But I also, how do you guys feel about that counter-argument of, well, if you write it in the rules, then that makes it easier for people to find loopholes because you have all these specific technicalities.
It's just as easy to find loopholes when there's no rules. I mean,
I mean that would tend to be my
no matter how many rules you clarify, there's always going to be that one that says Face-It admins can use at their discretion.
The God rule.
Yeah, the God rule. Everyone should have a God rule because sometimes you don't want to get loopholed.
You can also discuss like if it's in the Valve terms of service that you can't use macros, and this is something like can these players, whatever age they are when they install Steam, can they be expected to have read the terms of service before they start playing Dota? Like, who actually scrolls through this?
Yeah,
it's a fucking 50-page essay about what you can and can't do, and 90% of it doesn't matter to you because they just need to cover their bases, and that's law. That's how it is. But nobody's going to read that. I've not read the Valve terms of service, right?
Yeah.
I just follow like some sort of ethic compass of what I think is right, but that compass is different for someone else. And who decides which way it points, right? Like, you just need this like governing ruling of what is allowed. And I think it's simplest. You run a Dota tournament, you know these players might not have read the terms of service, specify the stuff that matters to them and make it short and simple. So there's like no excuse or no discussion about it.
I would agree with that. Where did you stand on do you think lifetime for Smash was appropriate given the magnitude of that scandal?
I don't know. I'm personally, again, this is something about what people believe in, right? I believe in second chances personally. I think it's also a culture and a country.
How very Danish of you.
Yeah, but it's just a thing, right? Because that's something that's just different. If you can draw like a parallel, this is a bit extreme, right? When the U.S. you have death penalty, and in Denmark you don't.
Yeah,
like the biggest
in Canada you don't.
No,
you also don't in Canada, and it's just different cultures and people believe in different things, and that's just how it is. I can't tell you our way's right. I can't tell you your way's right, but there is a way that's defined. So you just decide in the rules what follows. If it's lifetime bans and that's what you believe in, it's cool as long as it's laid out.
Yeah,
those are the rules. You take the risk. You take the punishment. I personally don't think it should be that way, but I'm not the one setting the rules. So
that's true.
I just follow what the rules are.
Okay. I like that.
I would say if you compare this to other sports, I don't know how it actually works if you get caught. Let's say you got caught match fixing in the NFL.
Right.
Do you get lifetime ban from the league?
That's a great question. I am
I would
tempted to
assume
say
so.
yes. I think that is so far because you get banned or like temporary like banned from games and stuff where you have to sit out for way less. You know, if you just get
For
you know,
taking a knee somewhere, you know.
Yeah, so I think match fixing, they've had a very hard line on that because, especially with the NFL, it's so much money. The integrity of the game is really important to maintain the fan base.
Yeah, I was just curious. I actually don't know.
But I actually don't know 100%.
I've heard about some fairly big,
Yeah.
what's the word? And if you don't obey the rules, some big breaks,
Punishment.
whatever. Some big
scandal.
Some big rule breaks that have happened, and the punishments have not been lifetime. Like there's been some big stuff happening in whatever sport it was, and maybe they got like 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is as a punishment where they were not allowed to play and were not allowed to receive salary or anything like that, I think.
Yeah.
In the league.
I mean, I think and this is a hard one to quantify for me, but like in that case of like the NFL, those players are paid so much, it reduces the incentive to cheat because it's like I make $10 million a year. Why would I want to risk this?
And that is part of the Smash.
You know, and part of the Smash thing,
debate,
you can't forget about the cultural differences, not only from how are you raised, what kind of moral code do you have, just less structure in that society in terms of schooling and formal education, but from a financial perspective, it's a completely, we don't have any perspective on what it's like to grow up in Peru as a professional Dota player.
This is a good point in chat, by the way, that we should maybe think about. Like, match fixing in other sports of that magnitude is actually legitimate fraud, so you can get prosecuted for it. So it's the law of the country that governs, not the law of the league.
Yes, that's true.
And you could debate, in these magnitudes that we're dealing with, $100, like, who's going to prosecute for that?
Do you know what
esports betting isn't big enough that you can make millions, because no site will allow you to bet those amounts. I've heard something like the biggest esport betting sites will maybe take bets of $500.
Yeah.
Like, that's the cap. So that's as much as you could get out of a match. And is that worth prosecution?
Probably not.
Probably
not compared
not
to what we're talking about with NFL or FIFA.
Well, you just have local governing in the leagues.
One thing that kind of brings all this together in terms of like having the written rules and explicit stuff and knowing what should be right and wrong, the idea of a tune, specifically in terms of like the rule being there, and it should be obvious, to me at the very least, that you should not be able to do multiple inputs with a single button. To me, that just makes sense. But there wasn't a rule written, and he's probably not going to get banned. It's kind of crazy that right now, Solo might win TI. Let's not forget, you shouldn't need a fucking rule to say you can't match fix. And this guy did it. There was no rule. He got his little light punishment. He might win TI.
And that's,
that's incredible.
It puts things in perspective, though. Like, why should this guy not be allowed a second chance then? Because he was also not. It was like a same gray zone. It wasn't specified that there wasn't an official statement that this is considered cheating. It's very simple to cover your bases with this in rule sets. Other games I've heard have just simple rules: one key, one action.
Exactly.
It's that simple, and you could just write that. It's fucking one line in your rules.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any key press is allowed to perform one action. There you go.
I'm in on that. I like that.
Yep.
Easy, simple.
Hard as that.
Yeah,
and that counts for both mouse and keyboard. There you go. If you have a key on your headset, you can have this use your boots of travel. I don't care. Like, do it.
Now, when are you going to use the foot pedal?
Yeah,
I heard that's the next level.
Foot pedal's in there.
Yeah.
I'm down with the
Are you
foot
allowed
pedal.
to do that? Could you use a foot pedal at TI?
I think so. It's official gear. I think you're allowed.
Official gear.
I think you can also use one of those driving wheels if you really wanted that.
If you really wanted to. If you're just driving down the mid lane.
That would be impressive.
Wow.
Guys, I'm playing Pango this game.
Wow. I never thought about that. Official gear. So you can use those little, it's like what Dakota has, a little gaming pad thing, that little mini keyboard.
I think that's also allowed.
Nobody does, but it's allowed.
I believe so. I think every standard piece of gear that just does normal input is allowed.
Yeah.
And that's basically what everything does. You should also technically, if you like it, you should be able to use those drum kits as well. If you wanted to play on that, I think it would be allowed.
So
it's your own gear.
In terms of just cheating and security, though, now like at TI, like players are not allowed to have phones in the booth, right? So they're confiscated ahead of time. I know that the hardware is taken by Valve and set up by Valve.
They test it all. They
so
put
it's
it
all
in a locked container.
Right. It's all scanned and whatnot because there. I think it might have been in CS:GO, but there was some issue with somebody scripting and they had it saved in the hardware of like the mouse or the keyboard.
The mouse has internal memory.
Yeah. So they had a little, and it was a really tiny, like slight auto aim. It was so baby that it took them a really long time to find it. But after that, they realized, okay, we need to actually like take the hardware, scan it, make sure everything is safe, at least do as much due diligence as possible.
Something I was thinking could have happened, but I feel like this is a bit tricky. But what Valve could have chosen to do was that when teams qualify for TI, they all write a list of the gear they want.
I think they did do that one year.
You write the.
I'm pretty sure.
They didn't do that. At least not any of the years I played. It would have been TI 4 or 5 then.
I think I heard about that because it was right after the CS:GO scandal.
I would feel like
this happened.
you just write a list. You're like, these are the specific pieces of gear I want, and Valve gets 2 of each for each player.
Oh, okay. So you say I want a Razor Black Widow, and they just buy
Because
you
then you have no way of even scripting it. Because
Yeah.
you go into the playroom, here's your gear, there's a guy standing behind you checking what you're doing. Game starts, you play, you leave, and you don't take the gear with you. It's literally
I
only
think
competition.
maybe it was
gear.
a CS:GO organizer, but I remember someone doing that.
I think CS:GO did it.
That might
I
be
think,
what it was.
Yeah, it was CS:GO.
That is the ultimate failsafe there.
Yeah.
I think.
What
That's
happened at
pretty
the TIs I was at was that we handed in our gear ahead of time, and then they took it, and we were only... So we had 2 sets of gear. One was the tournament gear that they got, and the other one was our replacement set, which we had for practice, and in case something failed, we could bring it in and use it.
Okay.
I don't
makes
even
sense.
know how many of the replacement sets were ever used. None of my stuff broke. I don't think any of my players' stuff broke at any point. But
Seems
you know,
pretty
it
unlikely.
can happen.
But yeah,
so
just
it's
in
good to
case.
have a replacement set.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. At TI6, I think it was actually required. We were told we have to bring 2 sets of gear.
Oh.
So those of us, we generally had 1 set of gear. So like kind of when we were at our boot camp and we were about to leave like 2 days later or something, our org were like, oh, so apparently you need another set of gear. So what do you guys want? So we very quickly ordered something off Amazon and got it delivered. So we had a second set.
Yeah.
So I
It
definitely
makes
remember
sense.
that.
I mean, it just takes one little stumble. You drop your keyboard. All of a sudden, you don't have a escape key.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
Or I guess a 1 key is probably more relevant than.
Depends how often you type.
W hurts.
Yeah.
Losing
Yeah,
W
that's
is
pretty
bad.
good
I think
one. Yeah.
that's a key. Like everybody uses W.
Well, I hope. Doesn't everyone use QW? Well, I guess
No,
that's not true.
I use
Not at all.
WERT. I'm weird.
Yeah.
So what do I know? I know Yapstar plays with Legacy,
Oh my god.
and he plays Rubik. So
Okay.
that's pretty fucking next level.
Now here's the
When
discussion.
you steal with Rubik, the spell's hotkey is the same as the original hero. So you need to
Right.
know the hotkeys of all heroes by heart.
Oh my god.
So now
When you
here's the
steal.
thing. Is it not? Should he not take the time and just get used to? Like, wouldn't that just theoretically be better to switch to QWER?
I did it. I even did it in Dota 1. We used war keys. The
Right.
original
Oh,
hotkeys
yeah.
in Dota
Switch.
1. There was a you just relogged your map, your keys to other keys.
Yeah.
It was still 1 press per action though.
Yeah.
So
No, I know you're talking. Just
'Cause, like,
remaps it.
Sometimes a
digitally.
runner, they gotta relearn how to run. You gotta start landing on the balls, or like you change the way you
Sure.
do things, and eventually you're gonna be better and healthier for
It's
it.
like when I
Oh,
switched
someone
my
is
phone
calling me
into kilometers.
someone's calling me out and saying it's not true for Rubik. That was in Dota 1. So the spells stolen had their own hotkeys in Dota
Okay.
1, but in Dota 2 they apparently have 1 hotkey.
Okay.
So then it's
Fair
like
enough.
then okay then. Then it
But
doesn't
still,
matter.
I mean, I
It's
still
still,
think
yeah.
like
I agree.
it
Why
wouldn't
not
if
use
you
it?
don't have to move your hand, because some of those legacy keys are ridiculous, right? You gotta get around to catch all these
Invoker
things.
has some pretty ridiculous keys because he has 10 spells, but Yapstar doesn't play Invoker. If
True.
he did, he might have changed it.
I see.
That's like the hero that has the most hotkeys, because each of his individual skills has a hotkey, unless they also changed that in Dota 2. They might have. So that
I'm
you have
not
like
an invoker player
So you have
or
like
legacy
left
user.
invoke and right invoke.
Oh, in legacy.
Yeah, you might have that. That's just a key for each. I'm not sure.
I'm with Trent. I feel like it's worth it to just rip off the Band-Aid and boot camp yourself for a month or 2 there and just.
Hey man, there's no time though. I mean, I can understand that.
Yeah, with this new
Like,
circuit, that's true.
I can see how the guy wouldn't have had time to actually switch.
Oh,
but
I
it's
remember
just
that.
kinda
Someone in
funny.
his chat is saying Omnislash had a stupid key. Do you know why?
Why?
Think about the letters that go into that spell name.
Uh-huh.
And in Warcraft, you wanted to have like this yellow letter be the hotkey. So like ideally Omnislash it would be O, but O is horribly placed.
Right, it's like way over.
Omnislash's hotkey was N, because S and
It's the
A
closest.
are used
Yeah.
already, and then you have L, H. So you have to like, what do you even choose, right? They're all bad.
N.
So you have like O, M, and
At
I
least
here.
you can thumb it. You know, you can
That's-
get your thumb over there, and
It was pretty awful.
that's bad. Wasn't items were number pad in original Dota, right?
Yes, that was the primary thing I rebound.
Yeah, that was brutal. I remember
Numpad is
the
bad.
first time I bought a Dagon, I'm like, how are you supposed to do this? I can't. He's moving before I can even click on the item, then click on him.
That was something that was actually mind blowing for me when I was playing TI7 qualifiers with Crescendo. Baby Knight used numpad for items, and I was like, there is no fucking way. He was actually using numpad for items. I told him, when you get home, you gotta, just. I think you should really get used to using other keys, because you are having a half-second input delay on all of your items.
Yeah, that's
you have
fucked.
to take your
Legit.
hand off either your spells or your mouse to use an item.
Wow.
Like he was playing like that. I was like, holy shit, man.
That's unbelievable.
That
That
is-
really is unbelievable.
so that's why he kept buying Brood Radiance, because he just
No
like,
buttons.
Yeah, just turn the thing on and that's it.
That's terrible.
So one of the along those lines, it reminds me of is making the switch from edge panning to using either middle mouse or some other control to move the camera,
Oh,
so you're
yeah.
not sliding your. No Tail is the one that told me, he's like, dude, seriously, it's painful at first, but once you switch, you never go back.
I love mouse drag. I use that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's something
He
that
said it
switch-
chews through his mouse is faster though, because you're always jamming the middle mouse key.
Yeah.
They break.
Did he just say mouses?
Mice.
Yeah, he did say
Damn.
mouses.
Damn.
Wow.
Shit.
Look, this guy's always on, dude. I said grinding.
I don't know.
He grinded his match.
Grinded.
He ground. Hey, this guy's
one
behind the
was more of a
fucking
joke.
panel. Ground. He ground.
If you say that on stream, everybody's gonna laugh at you way more if they say grinded though. I just
People
thought it was
say
funny.
dived a lot. That is the one I hear.
I say dove too.
I try to say dove, but I hear people that usually don't mess up grammar, like Cap says dived, God says dived.
Yeah.
That is a very common
I used to say it too.
dived.
But then
It's-
I heard
it's
someone-
dove,
I can't
baby.
even say that word.
Dived?
Dived? Yeah, I would never say dived.
Well, congratulations.
I don't think.
Great grammar.
Maybe I do. Now I'm scared. I probably do.
How's the ergonomics treating you these days? And how old are you? I can't remember. Are you-
28.
So you're getting up there in the gamer years.
I have no problem.
No problem. Do you got stretches or something? You got some? You doing yoga? You doing?
No.
You doing a couple of these in between cues or anything?
There's been some times that it can, like, if I've played for a long time and maybe have bad position, I can get like a little bit of ache, and then I generally just stretch. And it's
Bad
gone.
you're
table or
good?
something, maybe. Not home setup.
I've not had any carpal tunnel or
Of the
anything. so.
of all of your competitive experience, how much do players give a shit about ergonomics? Just in like professional players, is it even on the table? Do people think about it? Is it just purely a feel thing? I mean, there are some players that you can see. You know, I have bad posture, so I can see it. But that rolled over, you know, some players are. You look at that and I say 5 years from now, you are seriously going to have issues.
And then you have Ramsey who's playing major finals.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
literally like this.
That's crazy.
Some of that is because he is so small, though. He can get away
He's
with
a
it
wee
because his
lad.
frame is just. But I mean, I have played like this before. I can't do it for more than one game.
I
but-
can't. I don't even know how people reach. I don't
Well, but
know.
I do yoga too.
so
though,
far
so
away.
I think the people that care about it the most are the ones who've had issues. Until it's the classic, until you've had a problem like care, right?
Oh, sure, because it's preventative care. So when you don't have any pain, you have no reason to think, well, why would I?
Yeah, but it's the classic one. This applies to like everything. It's just human nature a lot of the time. Unfortunately, like that's just the thing. You know, until it goes wrong, you're probably fine, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's why we're not-
I kind of have the same thing. Like I could probably have better posture. I could probably sit better at the computer, but I'm like I haven't had issues and I feel okay, so everything is probably fine
Yeah.
until it isn't.
Yeah.
But I haven't had that experience, so.
And I
don't know.
am curious in this context because you're right, that is human nature, but it's almost a definitive thing in our line of work. You spend 12 hours a day on the computer. If you don't put any effort into ergonomics, eventually it will catch up with you. It might take you 5 years, me 10 years, someone else 15 years, but eventually you're going to be 40 and be struggling to pick up a pencil. You
I
know?
tell you, if I was starting to get like consistent problems in any way, like if I had a week and my hand was just hurting,
Yeah.
I'll start doing something about it. But it's just like these random moments for like 10 seconds. I have a little cramp or something. It's like the same thing happens if you're lying down and you have your legs crossed when you sleep, and then you wake up and you're fucking hurt like hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, so I know this is a problem some people have, and I used to have it. I found the definitive solution. If I lie in a specific way, it hasn't happened for like 6 or 7 years to me.
Really?
It matters how you lie when you fall asleep, because I think I guess it's individual, but it depends. If your legs lock in a specific way, you cut off the blood flow. And that's what
Right.
hurts. What hurts is that you don't wake up because your body doesn't react until the blood flow is so blocked that your leg is actually starting to lose like functionality.
Yeah.
Then it starts hurting like fucking hell. And what hurts is that the blood flows back
Yeah.
and
It's
reactivates
coming
all the nerves.
back in. Yeah.
Your nerves are like switching off, and then when all the blood comes back, that's
Right.
what
Oh.
causes that cramp.
I
in
get
pain.
the-
It
the-
is.
the
It
arm.
was so bad. I used to have a phase when it happened like once every second week or something. And it
Oh,
was-
wow.
Yeah.
And then I think I just figured out, if I lie like this, it never happens.
Well, I kept
Well,
I
you
kept
are
falling
gangly,
asleep with my
so-
arm like this behind my head, and I would wake up
Yeah.
completely dead. And
Yeah.
then you like literally, I have to grab the other arm, bring
You
it
toss
down,
it down,
and
yeah.
when it wakes up, oh my god,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
that's excruciating.
I usually sleep with one arm up, kind of stretch out, but if I go both arms up, that's what happens. I
That's
wake
what
up and I
gets ya.
go, I can't move. Oh, God,
Yeah.
I'm stuck like this, please. And then you kind of wiggle your way back to safety. But I guess I'm just continually a little surprised. Maybe because I've had some issues. You know, I've had some back pain from hunching over and having really bad posture. But there are a couple players that I just want to
You
go
worry about
fucking
you wanna
pull their
shake 'em?
shoulders back. Well, every time I get a massage, people go, you know, you're a little tight here. And they're always so nice about it because they don't want to offend me. I'm like, I know, I need to stretch more. But you know, you gotta open up. You know, you gotta counterpose.
The other thing is some people actually, I believe this is a thing. Some people do it too much. That's another thing. It's like
Stretching too
you're-
much?
No, you're taught to have a straight back, but the ideal sitting position is not 90 degrees.
Right.
The ideal one is that you lean back a bit so you rest on your back.
Right.
But if you sit up like 100% straight and you just lock your chair like this and you're sitting against one that doesn't give in at all,
Yeah.
you're basically sitting against a brick wall.
Yeah.
And there's no cushioning then
Yeah.
because you're just locking. So
The
you
main-
want your chair to give in a little bit.
The main thing that a quick just tip for everyone is that old-fashioned stand up between every game and move around.
Never hurts.
Counterpose.
That's true.
That is real. What's bad is the the locked position of any position, like you said, just not moving, that I'm locked like this, that's when things get really stiff, and then it starts that snowball, I'm getting stiff, so I want to move even less, and then eventually you're like, oh, God, I can't move. And then that's when you've got
readjusting
a real
over and
problem.
over, freaking out about our posture
But,
right now.
yeah, counterpose, that's the word. You know, you sit like this all day, spend a little time opened up, get those arms out wide. Yoga changed my life, man, I'm not going to lie. Chronic pain every day to relatively pain-free.
There you go.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, stretching, boys.
There you go.
So any non-Dota topics?
I forget. Oh, we were going to talk about food.
Oh,
I
yes.
find you're always talking about food. You
Oh,
know?
yeah. I love
NA
food.
life, you're a big
Big
food
food
man.
guy.
Yeah,
We're gonna.
we haven't been able to go out. When are we done tomorrow?
Well, so Trent and I guess we have a fill segment tonight, but we're basically done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're pretty flexible. I think there's just one more EU shift, right? It's just
Yeah.
EU finals, and then
I start
think
tomorrow
you're-
at 4 a.m. So
Right.
I'm probably, if the finals don't go 5 games and if the lower bracket doesn't go 3 games, what would the average expectation here be? OG wins 3-0 or 3-1, probably.
Right.
Yep.
So
3-1.
let's say
Probably
4 games
3-1.
in the finals and the other one goes to 2 or 3. So anywhere between 6 and 7 games. I'm probably done around noon.
I'm around lunch,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I'll have
So
a
lunch
whole day
steak?
off at the end, basically.
Lunch
I would
steak?
love to go out somewhere too.
I am down.
I love that.
But tomorrow at 4 p.m., Rob and I are going to go float. Have you ever heard of this before? The sensory deprivation tanks?
No.
The float tank? Oh, it's a
What the hell
totally
is that?
foreign concept. So it's
Is that
this-
where you're like simulate? You're just like hanging in the air? I've seen something like
Well, so it's this little pod, and they
Mhm.
fill it with salt water. It's like the most concentrated. They use Epsom salts and stuff, so it's like the Dead Sea. So you float
Oh,
really
right,
well on
right.
top of it, and it's like body temperature, so it's warm and steamy or whatever. And it's a little closed off, like just a little room kind of. You shut the door. It's totally dark, totally silent, and you just lay in there for an hour or two. And it's a kind of cool mix of, think about real life. It's never really completely silent. It's never really completely dark. And this is one of the only times where you're not really feeling gravity because you're so buoyant. You're literally just sitting on top of the water. It's only like a foot or two deep, but you sit on the top. So you just lay in there, and it's like a meditation thing. So it's
Okay.
like an ultimate, there's no distractions. You kind of clear your brain. If you sit in there long enough, supposedly you can kind of hallucinate and get all
Yeah,
wonky.
I was about to say this sounds like something that some people might get a really negative reaction
Like
out
a
of.
torture.
It's
if
a
you're
psychedelic thing. Yeah.
If you're like claustrophobic or something like that, I would not recommend this experience.
So-
I think.
No.
So
Don't
that,
do that.
so
pretty
that is the
terrifying.
classic thing, and it seems like it would really trigger claustrophobia, but for most people it doesn't, because once you get in, you have no concept of the size. It's completely dark. So you're just laying there in infinite darkness, floating in water. You're not touching the edges of the pool. You feel like you're just kind of floating in infinity. You don't feel like it's a closed-in, confined space once you shut the door and kind of get over the first couple minutes of being in nothingness, so to speak.
I don't know what I would think about.
No, I thought you said I don't know what I would think about that, because I don't know what I would think about it.
I think I would be down with
I don't
it,
know if I
but
would even want to do that. It doesn't sound very appealing to me.
Really?
What do you pay for it?
It's the place here is $40 for 2 hours.
So you lie there for 2 hours and do nothing.
Yes.
Sounds like a scheme to me.
Well, it's a little hard to describe. It's Joe Rogan was how I heard.
Have you tried it before?
Yeah, I did it with Rob like 2 years ago.
And you loved
at
it?
this place. I wouldn't say I loved it, but I liked it.
Okay.
We did it sober. Some people like to use like marijuana or something before they go in, and it can enhance the experience. We did it totally regular to see what it was like. Rob said he actually had trouble. He had like songs stuck in his head, and he just sat in there humming the whole time. I
that's
actually
like a nightmare right there.
I had trouble relaxing for the first half hour, 45 minutes, and then I fell asleep for like maybe, I don't know how long, but not that long, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. And then when I woke up was when I finally, it felt like I could, there were no distractions. Like my brain was a filing cabinet, and I could kind of just look at my thoughts as individual sort of tangible. You ever see that Stephen King movie where they're inside their brain with their different mental filing cabinets? Kind of like that.
Inside Out.
I haven't seen that.
No, the one with the aliens. I can't
It's
remember.
not.
what
That's
it's
not a
Good
Stephen
guess, though.
King movie.
It could have been called that.
But
oh,
it's a
that one.
Pixar movie.
The Assassin. Yeah, I've watched
yeah,
that.
but it's
Is that one?
I don't know. I've
It-
never seen this
I'm
movie.
just
it
guessing.
feels great physically because your muscles really get a chance to relax, so you come out feeling very loose and kind of ultimately relaxed or whatever.
Are you
And
naked?
Doing
yes,
anything
yes.
sober.
I was gonna say, are you naked?
You get naked. Yes, it's a naked kind of thing.
This is my
Doing
favorite comment of
anything sober.
doing anything sober.
Yeah, I
lol.
thought about changing that up for this podcast,
Yeah,
but
me
I stayed
too.
sober.
That's actually-
Um,
we should have had a drink.
Sure.
We really should have had a
But yeah, so it's an interesting experience. Definitely, I'm going to try it with edibles this time. We're in
Oh.
California. It's all perfectly legal here. Pop a couple gummies and then lay in the tank.
Okay.
Last time I did feel like I sorted through some shit. I was kind of hung up on a girl, and I decided when I came out, all right, I'm gonna go to Europe. I'm gonna go see her, and then I did, and didn't work out so well. But
So the moral of the story is don't do this.
no, I
lose
would
the
say
girl.
definitely do it. It was good. It wouldn't have. I dodged a bullet.
So it
on
ended
that
up
one.
costing $40 plus a plane ride.
Now here's what I'm getting at with the nudeness, though. How do they know people aren't dying?
So, dying.
Yeah, like what if you've like drowned? What if someone flips over and starts to drown?
Well,
Can they not?
I mean,
What I'm getting at is there's night vision cameras.
How do you know that when
They're
you
looking
fell
at you naked.
when you fell asleep in there?
Yeah.
You don't know what happened for those 30 minutes. And when you
That's
woke up
true.
and you were like, this is great, maybe they just actually
That's true. Now-
maybe they actually spiked your water.
now this thing though, it exists all over. I'm sure they have it in Denmark. Like you could probably Google it and find a place where you could go try it if you wanted to. The place we're going to was started in 1999. It's called Float Labs. It's supposedly the OG, like the original guys that came up with the concept. So that's why I
Wow.
want to go to this place. It's the cheapest one. Usually it's more expensive. In Denver, it's $60 for an hour and a half, and here it's
Wow.
40 for 2
You're getting
hours.
value.
It might be a thing in Denmark. I've never heard about it in my entire life.
And this
Anyway.
one is special because they have a really advanced filtration system with UV lighting and all this stuff. You're not supposed to jerk off in there, but if somebody does, this kills the jerks.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
then you're
Well,
not
thanks
swimming
for
in other
that.
people's cum. I know, it's great.
Yeah, I mean, better
this
you
is,
know
this
that.
is why I'm on this podcast.
Yeah, this is
Uh-huh.
what
Let's
we
talk
come
about
for.
food and we end
Yeah.
up on cum in
But
2 minutes.
it's-
That's great.
It's like it's
fantastic.
unbelievably salty though. You can't get it in your eyes. You don't you can't. It's like when you're laying there and it dries like on your stomach where there was water, like salt crystals appear. It's actually kind of wild.
Yeah, that makes sense, I suppose.
It's literally like swimming in the Dead Sea.
So you can't flip over then.
Yeah, you don't want to lay
that's the
face down.
protective well, you can't. Like, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to.
Well,
so that's what the
I mean,
safeguard is.
No, you could.
Well, if you chose to.
Yeah,
But I mean,
you
in
could
your
bring in a
sleep.
snorkel and lay there and just snorkel, but it would be awful. Your eyes would be on fire. It's,
All right.
So the thing I actually thought this was before you started explaining it, I thought it was a tank where you would lie in this. You'd be like, not fully
Submerged, but your head's
but
above?
yeah, something like that, where it's basically like a bathtub, but just with that kind of salt and water and stuff. Because I've heard that this kind of people that struggle with it's called psoriasis, right, in English?
The skin.
The skin disease.
Yeah.
My dad has that, for example. That supposedly a good treatment to that can be to go to really high concentration salt water and stay there. So
Right.
I think it's my aunt who 2 weeks a year actually goes to Israel to
to the Dead Sea.
to be at the Dead Sea, and it helps her
Really?
a lot. Yeah. So I thought it was maybe some sort of treatment lab, and then that's like an added benefit. It's just that it's
So
relaxing.
it is good for your skin. So this is like what it looks like. You get your own little room. There's a little shower, and
Okay, to
then
get the salt
this is
off.
the actual pod. So the
Oh my
door
God.
opens.
Dude, that looks fucking terrifying. That looks like a safe where someone can just forget you.
I mean,
It
so
looks
that,
like the thing they slide the bodies in the morgue.
this is the back end filtration system.
What the fuck?
Yeah, you don't see all. That's all like the behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, they don't have any great pictures of what there's nothing special in there. But when you go in this little door, that's what it looks like in there. It's just a steamy, wet room, and you just lay in there, and it's literally it comes up to like your knees. People's like, what if you can't swim? You just stand up. You know, there's no. You just open the door if you want to get out. You're not like locked in there. Or
Oh,
something.
you're not locked.
No,
No,
it just
they-
the door you just pull it shut yourself.
Forced
You're
to it.
you're in a room within a room.
Listen, you paid for 2 hours, and you're gonna get your 2 hours.
Oh, we're not logged in. Yeah, it's floatlab.com if you guys
Okay,
want to check
I mean
it out.
that's relieving to know that you can at least get out whenever.
Oh yeah, that's it's not intended to be scary. It's not a horror movie. It's a psychedelic like, dude, go in there and think about some shit.
I mean, the moment
you
you told me people go in there and get hallucinations, I was like, why don't you go out? Like,
Well,
why are you actually staying
not
here?
not
under the-
everybody. I mean, I didn't really get hallucinations, but eventually, like, if you don't have the full darkness, full sound, eventually your brain will start to do some stuff, and some people,
That's when I would
report.
open the door.
yeah.
If I start
yeah.
seeing and imagining things that I don't like, I'd probably just go out.
All right,
Like,
so,
why?
so you're not a hallucinogen kind of guy. You're not like
I don't know, I
a
like drinking.
psychedelic mushroom explorer.
No.
Or,
I've never done any drugs in my life,
Okay.
actually.
Same.
But
No
if I
druggies
were
on the
to-
podcast.
congratulations.
But if I
boys.
were to, I would definitely smoke weed.
Yeah, that's
or
definitely
eat, or
first
eat.
on the list.
I would probably eat it first.
I would eat weed.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
why bother
That,
going
that
with
would be
smoke?
the one I would go for.
Yeah.
But
Seems
no,
pretty
I've
safe.
never tried it. I've never even smoked a cigarette. Can you beat that one?
No, I haven't smoked a cigarette. I smoke cigars.
I think Trent has
Smoke nothing
secondhand
at all.
smoked a lot of cigarettes. though.
Yes, yeah, that definitely did that.
What are the laws in Denmark with pot and recreational drugs and stuff?
I don't really know the specifics very well because it's not really something I do.
But I mean, like, would you go to jail if you got caught like with a joint on the street or something?
No, I think you would probably get a fine or
Some
something.
sort. So it's like
But
sort of decriminalized a little.
I can't remember what the law is right now. I think it's not fully. There's obviously it's one of the things in politics that especially the young voters love to
Right.
make a thing is
Yeah.
talking about it. But I don't actually know what state we're in right now. the one thing I do know is that this is a very famous part of Copenhagen. You've probably heard about it, Christiania. Maybe you've heard about this? Okay.
I've never been to Denmark.
No, but even if you haven't, you might have heard about it. Because it's a very unique concept where we have there's like this little almost village in a part of Copenhagen that is kind of exempt from certain laws. And people in there, I believe, it is fully legal to smoke.
No,
really?
Sell. Yeah, it's like this little community, or at least even if it isn't legal, nobody gives a shit because they do it all the time, and it's very obvious, and you can just see it, and you can just walk in, and it will smell like it everywhere. So it's like the Danish word for it is called I think we call it fristed, which means like a free. What would you call it? Like
state almost.
Yeah, that's like the best, but it's not big.
Why though? Is it like a Puerto Rico kind of thing where it's its own territory, or is it just an agreed upon like?
It is part of Denmark.
Okay. Yeah. It's just that there's a universal like you can go fuck around there and we'll give you a little pass.
I'm gonna look this up because I'm genuinely kind of curious. Oh, there we go.
I'm gonna look this up.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna close Twitch.
Shut down Twitch. I'm gonna look this up for you guys.
Yeah,
Christina Aguilera. Is that what you wanted?
Freetown, Christiania. Freetown, that's the word.
Freetown.
It's a self-proclaimed autonomous anarchist district of about 850 to 1,000 people covering 84 acres in the borough of Christianshavn in the Danish capital of Copenhagen. It was temporarily closed to residents in April 2011 by the Danish government, but later reopened.
What did they do when they closed?
You guys have an autonomous anarchist district, and your government's just like, just let them stay in their little circle and do whatever they want. If they start a fire, we'll put it out.
Christiania has been a source of controversy since its creation in a squatted military area in 1971. Its cannabis trade was tolerated by authorities until 2004. In the years following 2004, measures for normalizing the legal status of the community led to conflicts, police raids, and negotiations.
Wow, you went into a Dota coma, and in that time, they stopped selling weed there.
It's just, I don't know if this is updated, because I feel like this is still, like, this area is still something. Like,
for sure.
There's definitely something special about this, but I don't know the exact specifics.
Well, that's wild.
It's kind of special.
Do you guys have medical marijuana?
I do believe that's been legalized now. I'm not 100%.
I see.
But in a way, it's a bit surprising because Denmark is generally, when it comes to like these, what do you call this?
Social issues?
No.
Liberal?
Just progressiveness. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
When it comes
to
to
liberal progressives.
Yeah, when it comes to liberal progressiveness, Denmark is generally pretty much at the forefront. We were very early with legalizing gay marriage, for example.
Right.
That's something that took forever in Germany. I think it was this year or last year that got legalized in Germany. And I know in the U.S. it's like state-based, I think, where it's legal or not. But obviously our countries have like, generally for most European countries, there's just like one governing body that affects everything.
Yeah,
right. And you have like sub-regions in some countries, but laws like those are countrywide.
Yeah.
The stuff that you can maybe have is maybe something a bit with like local tax or like whether you can have specific things and how much you can have and blah, blah, blah. But like the big things like social status is just universal across the entire country. So.
Yeah. Last time I was in the Netherlands, somebody's parents, an older
first
person.
country to legalize porn as well. That's true. That was Denmark.
Denmark.
Yes.
Really? What about prostitution? Yeah. Same thing, I assume, then?
Prostitution is... I actually don't remember the status of that. If that is...
It's kind of on the same, like, wavelength.
I'm all about legal prostitution, by the way.
I don't know. That's a very complicated issue. I don't know where to go on that. I feel like it definitely creates opportunities for vulnerable women to be taken advantage of by, abusers.
It does.
I mean, it
happens anyway.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm a BTS so I can Google this from here.
Yeah, that's good.
I checked and they didn't have Moonduck TV on the history, guys.
Yeah, that really hurt.
They're not tuning into the podcast. That's all I got from this random computer here somewhere in the house.
Dakota's our only fan. I was talking to Rob about that. I was like, well, I mean, you saw a few. Oh, wait, maybe you didn't. He's like, yeah, I'm going to be real, bud. Oh, look, he's reading a Danish website.
It says that prostitution kaldes ofte for verdens ældste yrke.
Man, you made this sound so Dutch and so un-Danish. That sounded a lot more Dutch.
Thank you.
It is both legal to buy and sell sex in Denmark. Prostitution is, however,
What is that word?
Huh?
What is that word?
This?
Yeah.
This is like...
Love giving.
So
that prostitution?
Live giving.
That's actually funny. No, lo is law.
Oh. Right? That's disappointing.
Give means to give.
Okay.
So it's like it's basically the giving of the law, whatever.
Oh.
It's a specific
How
word.
disappointing.
This basically just means the law. Let's call it that.
Oh.
So it is legal to both buy and sell sex in Denmark. Prostitution is, however, not considered a so-called legal job, and therefore the prostitute is not covered by the protection of the law when it comes to the job market.
Okay, so you can't sue for being an out-of-work prostitute.
In addition to this, it is not legal to earn money on other people's prostitution. So pimping is not allowed.
Okay.
You cannot buy sex from
protection.
anyone under 18, which is a real thing in Denmark because the legal age is 15.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you can legally consent at 15, but you can't sell for sex
Yes.
until you're 18.
Yes.
Got it.
I believe the important years in Denmark are the legal age is 15. I still think.
Do you guys have like a little party? Like, here's your birth control age.
I think it's 15 for. I think it's 15 for sex, 18 for cars, and 21 for gambling.
18 for cars?
Yes.
Really? You can't drive at 16?
No, driver's license for cars is 18. At 16, you can drive a scooter or a moped. Or do you have a scooter word here?
Yeah. What about a tractor? If you're a farmer. 14 is a tractor's license.
I think if you're a farmer, it might be 16. I don't know that very well.
Wow, useless. Good.
The thing I don't know, in addition to this, I don't know if this is important or not, but I'm not sure how the consent works with the sexual consent. I think if someone above 18 wants to have sexual contact with someone who is below 18, they need parental permission, I think. So
wow.
I think so. It's to prevent abuse,
Mom.
right? It's to prevent underage abuse. So it's like
Yeah.
the parents understand and agree to the relationship, therefore it is allowed.
Right.
I think it's a way just to, prevent, like, especially girls in that age group can be taken advantage of from like 15 to 18 by older guys because it's new and it's exciting and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a way of trying to
But
protect.
that little outline
I'm not
you just
100%
read
on that.
about prostitution, like I like that. I think that's a good framework. It's very straightforward. It basically says pimps are a big problem. If you want to do this, that's fine, but it's not a normal job where you can get like unemployment or something.
Think about how ridiculously complicated that issue is and how well that one paragraph gave you a good framework for the laws, and yet we don't have anything for macros.
Yeah.
Think about how like prostitution was just pretty well summarized there in a paragraph.
I know it's legal in Australia now. I guess I don't know exactly how well it's gone. But
Sex, love, giving, Denmark. That is literally what he's writing. Ladies, can you please? Oh, God.
What would be a good word for this? I'm forgetting what the word is.
What is the word in Denmark for fucking in the mouth?
Yes, and that's what I'm looking at here. I'm missing the word here, and you guys obviously can't help. So
Do you need some help?
This is not my area of. I mean, just list sexual acts.
Woman.Danish.
69.
That must be a great website.
Cunnilingus.
How many are you legally allowed to kiss in Idaho? What the fuck?
Woman.
Why is there an article?
Asking some questions.
So this homepage is basically 15 weird sex laws. And one of them is in Idaho. There's a law about how many you're allowed to kiss.
That makes sense.
Wow.
That sounds about right.
NA laws.
Sounds like Idaho, dude.
Yeah.
It sounds like some puritanical shit. Wow, that's very exciting. Man, politics in Denmark are more interesting than I thought.
Okay, so just as it's not really a preface anymore, but I'm not 100% on all this stuff. I'm not 100%
Okay,
if it's changed.
Trust me, if you guys taking your laws from the Zyori podcast, you have some serious
Do
issues.
your own
lawyer.
research, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure the majority of what I've said is at least true. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I didn't make any of it up.
No.
So it's something I've genuinely heard or thought was true.
Okay, so pivot point, marriage. Is marriage a big thing for youngsters in Denmark? Are you guys on that, like, why would we get married when we could just stay together and then not be together when we don't want to be anymore?
Legally, in Denmark, marriage makes, I think at this point, pretty much zero difference. I don't think there's any real benefits.
How
except,
progressive.
What about testifying against your spouse?
Haha!
There might be, I'm trying to think of what the advantage would be, because I remember my parents telling me they weren't very romantic about that whole thing. So they basically they were gonna have my brother at the time. So my mom was pregnant, and there was some sort of economic or legal advantage of getting married. So they got married because they got pregnant. But it was a planned pregnancy. They wanted it anyway. But they've been together for a long time, and
Usually
they
there
didn't
are
really
tax
mind
incentives.
too much. But yeah, I think there was something like that, but I feel like that may have been eliminated. I'm not 100% sure about it. If there is a benefit, it's minor.
Because pretty much all of my Swedish friends have told me that people our age in Sweden, the idea of like, even their parents are like, well, why would you want to get married? Like, it just what value does it add? Just if you're happy, be together, and then when you're not, just don't like.
Weddings are fun.
To some
Because
people,
weddings are fun.
I'm sorry, weddings are awesome.
I mean, I think it's
It's
pretty
not about the eternal connection of your soul or anything. It's the party.
Well, that's what you're celebrating.
But isn't it pretty?
That's
isn't
why
it
the
pretty
party's
simple?
so good.
It's pretty simple, right? If it's something that's meaningful to you and you get pleasure out of and you
Well,
enjoy it and you feel like it does something
sure.
for you, do it. If you don't care, don't do it.
No, I'm just talking about
it's
general
pretty-
trends, because in
yeah.
America, that's not the case. There is still, I mean, that is a growing movement, but there is still a lot of that traditional, like, hey, I need to get married, or I'm 22, I'm looking for a guy because I definitively know I want to get married.
Yeah, America has a much more religious tradition than we do.
Yes.
there's a much. I think it also really depends on what state you're in. I would imagine some American states, the marriage, like average marriage age is like 10 years higher than others. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, I've heard
Yeah,
more
definitely.
people getting married by a friend. Like instead of it being a pastor or
Yes,
religious
that's
person,
very common
it's
now.
we asked you to get the certification.
Yeah, do the
and-
little quiz
and marry
online,
us.
and you can
Yeah.
marry people.
So that's the new American way to give the old finger to the big guy upstairs. We're getting married, but we're getting rid of the religious
But we don't
religious
need you.
context.
Yeah.
But we're still calling it marriage, and we're still doing the eternal soul thing.
Yeah.
So whatever.
In Denmark, there's basically, if you want to narrow it down, there's two common types of marriage. There's one where you have the ritual in the church, and there's one where you go to the courthouse and you sign a paper, and then you're legally married.
Yeah.
And I would say, I can't give you percentages on this, and I really can't say it with any confidence, but I think people that are specifically atheist
Yeah.
will generally go to the courthouse.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
People who are, what's it called if you don't?
Agnostic.
Yeah. People who are agnostic might choose a church
Yeah.
wedding because they like it more. They think it's nice. They like the tradition about it. They like the spectacle of it. They like the fact that there's a guy who does like a bit of a speech and everything. It's
Yeah.
just nice, you know. And if that's for you, that's great. My parents were married in the courthouse, as far as I know, and I have friends that I don't really think are really Christian that wanted a church marriage because they thought it was nice. And in Denmark,
Wow.
you don't. I think you have to legally be a member of the church to get married in the church, but I'm not positive.
So according to Wikipedia in 2015, you guys are only about 20% agnostic and atheist. I'm a little surprised. I thought it would be higher than that.
I think if they don't take these people who are Christians, would they really consider themselves to be hardcore Christians?
67% Protestant.
the Protestants in Denmark are way less into their religion than the Protestants in the U.S.
Okay, so
I
it's
will
not
guarantee you that. No.
a fair one-to-one. That's
I think the ones that you can truly compare are the Catholics or the. There are obviously some of the Protestants that are a lot into it, but not as much. I also think a common thing. So this is a legal thing. That's the other thing. When you are a kid, if you get baptized, you become part of the church.
Yeah.
And getting out of the church, I think you need to be 18, and you do it by choice.
Yes.
You leave the church. My parents, I did not get baptized. I was given a name. That's the legal counterpart that you can have in the courthouse. So I have never had anything to do with it. But in Denmark, it's very common to get baptized. And that means obviously a huge part of the population is officially Protestant, even though they have very minimal interaction with the church.
Okay, so if you're baptized, you're automatically in.
You are in the
you're
church.
considered
and
a...
I guess you're considered in official capacity. You're considered a Protestant.
Okay. Were you baptized, Trent?
Yes.
I was, too.
I don't go to church.
I don't know
anything.
why. I asked
And
my
I'm
parents,
probably
and
gonna
they said,
baptize my kid too. It's just
I think my parents' explanation was it made your grandparents happy.
exactly. That's
So I was
literally.
like, they're like, we didn't care, but
I do have a relatively clear memory of this because in Denmark we have. Do you have your confirmation here? Is that a thing?
that is a thing if you're a Catholic.
Okay, in
And
Denmark
Christians too.
it's a thing when you're a Protestant in Denmark.
Really?
And I think it
I
happens
did
when
it
you're.
too.
I believe it's when you're 14, 13 or 14.
You do like a bunch of classes and.
Yes, there's like some sort of religion class, and I remember. I think in my class, as far as I can remember, and we were like 27 people, I was the only one who didn't have it.
Right.
I did not have a confirmation. We
Really?
had what we called a non-formation, so we still did like the whole family coming together and celebrating and whatnot and gifts and all that stuff, but we just didn't have the religious part of it.
Oh, we
But
don't have like
most-
a party.
But most people, it wasn't like a party as such. It was like a family gathering. You know, a nice
Right.
dinner, hanging out, talking. You know,
Right.
Slugging
standard
beers, hitting baseballs over the fence.
yeah, 14-year-olds were getting fucking wasted. You know, no. So we had it like that, and just my memory is telling me that the absolute majority of everyone in my class and in the year did get a confirmation, and that means they're in the Protestant church
Right.
because you need to be baptized to have a confirmation.
But
Right.
once they all hit like 18, did they still go to church every week? Do you think, or not really?
I think when people hit 18, some people will leave the church because they pay church tax.
Oh.
And I do
that
think
changes things.
I'm not
out.
100% how this works in Denmark. Actually, I think in Germany at least the church tax is something that many people leave the church for when they're 18. In Denmark, I'm not 100% on the specifics because once again, I've never been involved in it, so it hasn't really.
In
affected
America,
me.
they just guilt
I
you
know.
into the tax.
Yeah,
You're supposed to
honestly.
give it willingly, but
Yeah,
it's
when you
not
show up.
locked in. I think Mormons probably have Mormons and Scientologists, the only two I know that it's effectively a tax. Like if you don't pay it, you're like, dude, come on, you guys support the team. What are you doing? We're all on the same team. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they can legally make you pay dues. Maybe they can. America's pretty capitalist. I think you can charge a subscription for pretty much anything and then exclude people if they don't have your subscription
could see
savey save fucky fuck card.
Yeah.
See the cake story in Colorado. What do Europeans think about shit like that? Like the bakers refusing to give a wedding or make a wedding cake for the gay couple, the right to refuse service to somebody based on sexual orientation?
we don't really have those problems in Denmark.
People
so
are just nicer and
I
less
think
shitty humans. They're like, hey, if you order a cake and pay for the cake, I'm going to make you the cake because
I don't
it's
know
your cake.
if you baked I mean, okay, so technically, legally, right? I can go to a hairdresser and they can refuse me service.
Right.
They can
Yeah.
just say we don't want to do it. So legally,
Are they allowed to say we don't cut white guys?
I don't know if they're.
They probably couldn't say that.
I don't think they can legally give any sort of segregation reason for it.
Yeah.
But they can, at their discretion, can say we don't have time, we don't want to do it, or
Okay.
you know,
Just make up an excuse.
Yeah, basically, right? Like legally, they can't do that. But if somebody openly said, "I don't bake cakes for gays," they would be in a bit of a turmoil.
Yeah.
Like that would be real bad.
Legally or just socially? Obviously, there'd be social uproar at that being a hate-filled title.
I mean, I don't know about you. I don't know the laws in Canada, but I know it would be the same thing. Everyone would be
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck?"
What is
Like
wrong with
who?
these guys?
And then they would just go to business. Like
I
who would support that?
I don't know if that would technically be illegal, but it would be really bad business.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
Well,
don't know. what
in
the
America,
actual
it's so
law is.
polarizing. It's like you
Yeah.
get boycotted by one side, but then you get supported by the other side. So it
Exactly.
could be an advantageous business.
but again, I think a really easy way of thinking about, if you don't know how Denmark works, you like think, what's the leftist most thing you can imagine in the U.S.?
yeah.
Someone like Bernie is in the middle of the Danish political field. Like that's where he would be. He's a
Okay.
Danish social democrat.
That's
Maybe
yeah.
he's even a bit right of the middle, because we're a social democracy and it's a different model. And in the U.S., this is like scary and oh no, we're communists and whatnot. Yeah, fuck that, dude. We're not communists.
What's
We
your
all-
like
we have-
effective tax rate? Like 50, 60%? I mean, like for
No,
people like
no,
our
no.
age.
I think the low tax is somewhere. I think it's in the 30 something.
Yeah,
I think the normal tax is 38. And
That's
then
where it starts.
the taxing basically has tiers. So once you reach, I think, when you earn above, I think it's about $80,000 or $90,000 a year with the current conversion rate or whatever, you start paying higher tax. And the top tax, I think, is 62% right now.
Okay, that's not
And you
too
start
bad.
paying that when you're over 500,000 Danish crowns, which is like a factor 6 to the dollar.
Right.
And you only pay that high tax on the surplus. So you don't.
Oh, yeah, it's graduated.
Yeah, right? So it's like a scale, basically. with
Okay,
steps.
that's not too bad. I actually did the math, and if I count what I pay out of pocket for healthcare as taxes, my tax rate would be lower in Canada based on how much money I make now, and I would have actually usable healthcare. Right now, my healthcare is called the catastrophic plan. I pay $250 a month. I have a
insane?
$10,000 deductible, and basically the only reason I have it, there's two reasons. One, I don't get hit with the penalty tax at the end of the year for being uninsured, which is about $180 a month. And if I get in a car accident at someone else's fault or my fault, I won't be like, filing bankruptcy to get both my legs replaced.
Okay.
Because my health care, without that, they would cover, some portion of it, but 90% of $1.5 million to get 2 new legs is still a shitload of money. So, if you have the catastrophic plan, there's a limit to how much they can charge me. So I'll pay $10,000, and then after that, they've got to pay for my new legs.
Okay.
That's a pretty shit deal.
Oh, at least it's something.
Well, I mean, I could choose not to have it, but then,
Sure.
I think it's a 2% of your adjusted gross income you have to pay as additional tax,
I
which is
remember
kind of a lot.
when I have these conversations with people from, especially the States, they are like, holy shit, you pay so much tax. But then you need to think about what it goes to.
Yeah.
We have
social programs.
You guys have
and-
bridges that work.
We get paid to study.
Yeah.
Education is not only free, you actually get support.
So why don't more people have
so
degrees then?
For 5 years of university education, you get paid about $1,000 a month to study. It's student support so that you can...
And the university's free.
And the university is free, yeah. So what you pay for is books, food, and a place to live, and that's
Yep.
it. And any public transport you may need or whatnot. Or if you want
Right,
to have a
right.
car, you pay for that. But it supports basically your infrastructure. You have free access to doctors. Applied for a doctor. So like they give you a suggestion for a nearby doctor. You can say, do you want that or do you want another one? But they're all free. If you're sick, you go. And then you
Yeah.
get... then you
What
get
about
help.
waiting line stuff? That I always hear the capitalist folks say that's the drawback of the system you're describing. Like if you have an aggressive cancer, if tomorrow you were diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, you might be on a waiting list before a specialist could see you because there's only so many. Whereas in America, you could have that specialist tomorrow. You might have to pay for it, but
Well,
like,
you can
there's-
also do that in Canada. You can't pay for it.
There are private hospitals and there are public hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Private
okay.
hospitals, I would imagine, on average, have a shorter waiting line, but they're also paid. So yes, that is a thing. The other thing is, if you need some sort of specialist quickly, in some cases you would go to that specialist, and he may not exist in Denmark. You might go abroad to get a surgery. That's a
Yeah.
common thing
Yeah.
for many people. Like if you're
Must be nice in Europe.
If your condition is rare enough, you can go somewhere and have a treatment. And of course, if you go abroad, you pay. But we also have like there's basically an EU-wide social security or social health care thingy. I have a card that is an EU health card. So if I get sick and need to go to the doctor in an EU country, I can deduct. I think dependent on how much it costs or whatnot, I can get it for free in other EU countries.
I see. So it gives you protection if you're outside of Denmark, but still in the Union.
Makes
That's
sense.
Cool. It must be awesome living in countries where you don't get to see pharmaceutical ads on TV and stuff.
It is nice. When I watch American television, it's very strange.
Have you ever seen American ones? And
I have.
How ridiculous they are. The long list. It's like people smiling outside. You might also have violent vomiting, wet farts, diarrhea unexpectedly,
Death.
gurgles.
The thing that's stupid about that is that they are legally required to say what the side effects can be, but it's like if you buy a product in Denmark as well, there's always that list that is legally required to be there with what side effects are possible, and sometimes it's like 1 person in 10,000 experiences vomiting, and then that's one of those moments where like, is it actually the meds or was it just like a condition they had at the same time? How do you isolate and check that it's just the drug that does it? So they still have to enter it, but if you have to say it legally on TV, you have to be like, oh, you can have this, and most of the time the drugs don't do it. It just happened, and they have to say it. The ones that are really worth reading, generally, the ones that matter are if 1 in 10 has it, if 1 in 100 has it, maybe the 1 in 1,000. Especially if you know yourself, like let's say you have had like heart problems or something. Then if there's something like 1 in 1,000 experience heart problems, then if I already have heart problems, I should probably talk to my doctor about it, right? Like,
well, so the thing that's weird though is the idea of how those commercials end. Ask your doctor if Lipitor is right for you. The idea of I'm going to my doctor with this drug planted in my brain saying, hey doc, do you think I should try Viagra? Generally that goes against what you would consider logic of you have a problem that you can't identify, you go to the doctor and then he recommends the proper medication, not the consumers selling it to the doctor like, please, I need the Lipitor. TV told me that it's perfect for me.
It is kind of crazy.
That's really weird.
Well, think about how effective it must be if they all do it.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
that's the weird part.
Big pharma, that's part of the reason why our healthcare is so fucked up in America. We've got the opioid epidemic.
In Denmark, it's pretty simple. You go to your doctor, like, hey, doctor, I have this problem. Doctor checks it. Doctor's like, this is what you need. Gives you a prescription, sends you to the pharmacy.
Do you guys have an opioid issue right now, or is that an American epidemic?
No, not really much. Nothing I heard about.
I think Canada has some issues with it, too.
I'm sure it seeps up from America.
Well, I think Canada, like, people got them a little too easily, I think, for a couple decades. And so I think they're starting to curb that down now. But there definitely was issues with, like, doctors just like, yeah, here you go. There you go.
Big Pharma is afraid of medical marijuana, man. That's part of the reason why the medical side has been so slow in America, because there is so much money in painkillers.
I think, so I'm trying to remember, the only pharma ads I remember seeing on TV is medicine for the cold when it gets winter. They will run those ads like cough drops,
but those aren't
like
prescription, right? That's like
no,
OTC.
You can buy it in the. I think in Denmark it's illegal to advertise stuff that you can't go and pick up in the pharmacy.
Right.
If it's anything you need a prescription for, I think you can't advertise it at all.
That makes sense.
It's at the doctor's discretion what you get, and I think it's a good thing that the consumer doesn't know what's available necessarily. The doctor is supposed to be the expert, and you get guidance, and then you make an educated decision based on that.
Yeah.
Instead of, because the thing about this American system that I don't like is exactly what you say. You go in there and you're basically pushing for a product, and I don't know what the law is for the doctor if he can like endorse a product if he can like basically get paid to endorse a specific product by the industry and then be like, you should take this rather than something else that he actually knows is better for you.
It's a gray area.
There's a lot of similar drugs.
That's a problem.
Ethically, they're not really supposed to do that. There are laws about what pharmaceutical companies can do in terms of like paying off doctors.
They get a lot of free dinners.
There are a lot of loopholes. There are a lot of free gifts. There are a lot of Ferraris passed around, shit like that, where they find ways to give them incentives that aren't official kickbacks. It's
how nice.
Yeah. Now the big pharma is scary, man. The antibiotics is the other big one. There's no incentive in the American system to try to create new antibiotics. That's why MRSA and those like big super things. If you have an autoimmune or like any kind of immunity disorder, you almost don't want to be in a hospital because that's where all the super viruses are, and they don't have antibiotics to kill them because they're immune to all the conventional antibiotics, and for the big pharma companies, you have to go through so many trials with the FDA to get stuff approved, and it takes so long and so expensive. They're all looking for the next Adderall or Viagra, something that anybody can take.
Something that makes money.
But that's why it makes money, because everybody can take Viagra, and you still need a prescription, whereas antibiotics, it's only for a limited amount of time for a very specific ailment that a lot of people don't have.
I said, well, men.
That's right.
Well,
they need
men.
It's
woman
only men.
Viagra.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, that.
Yeah, you're only hitting 50% on that.
Well,
one.
that's why Adderall is really
That's
the
the
thing.
real
And
money
painkillers,
maker.
right? Everybody can take painkillers, but
And then you
not
got
everybody needs
every time
antibiotics.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
The only pharma in Denmark that I know that's really big is Novo Nordisk, which does insulin. They do a lot of insulin.
Insulin. Oh, yeah. For
Insulin.
diabetics.
Did I say insulin?
Insulin.
Insulin, yeah. Insulin.
Yeah.
Is that it in Danish?
No, it's called insulin. So
Oh,
Insulin.
insulin.
I don't know. I don't know.
Insulin.
I don't know why I
I'm
said
gonna
insulin.
start calling insulin.
Yeah.
Maybe it just came off the tongue like insurance, you know?
Yeah,
So
it's-
insulin.
it just sounds
That's
funny.
probably why I said it.
Yeah.
What about mental health stuff? Like, if you want to go talk to a psychiatrist, can you do that for free, or do you have to pay?
There are some things that are free and some things that are paid. I don't remember the details about it. I think a psychologist is free and a psychiatrist is paid,
Okay.
I believe. But I'm not 100% on
Is
that.
it the other way around?
and I think it's-
Psychiatrist
it might
can
be the other way around.
prescribe.
It might be
Yeah.
the other way
One of them
around.
has a script. One of them is just like, I can talk to
And
you.
I think it's
Yeah.
also a bit case specific, like dependent on how serious your condition is. It
Sure.
might be state supported and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know enough about
Interesting.
that. But yeah.
Well, that's good.
Ah.
Congratulations on your stable mental health.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. I'm
Wow.
good at pretending.
Worked
That's
hard
basically-
on it. Yeah.
My life is just pretending.
Yeah.
Everything I do is just pretending.
I'm
What are we gonna
fascinated
get
by
for
this
food?
stuff, man? Tonight?
What-
Dinner?
No, tomorrow. What
Oh,
do you
tomorrow. Yeah. What's our meal gonna be? What's this?
What do you
Are we
want?
doing the steak? We.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm down for whatever. If you have a really nice sushi, we could go for that too.
Oh, sushi.
Okay.
Actually, sushi here. Trent doesn't like sushi,
No,
but
that's okay.
sushi
I'll go.
here is really good. I mean, I live on a mountain now in Colorado. The seafood is not great. We're pretty far from the ocean. California, dude.
I've never
California
actually
sun,
been to a sushi place.
California
so-
bud, and California sushi.
I mean, we
I
have
think
them.
you might be.
But I
you
could
might
get some
be me.
salmon sushi. I could get some good
Yeah.
shit. You know, I could enjoy
And most
that.
of them have like other, they're like fusion
Yeah.
restaurants. You get Chinese food.
You
or
might
some
be
shit.
me 3 years ago, because back then I hadn't really had. At least I think there's something like that. I hadn't really had sushi. I tried it one time and I was like, yeah, that's okay. I could.
Yeah.
That's fine. It grew on me really fast, and now it's like super delicious.
Okay.
If
I'm
you
in.
when you get some of the good stuff, and just the food.
No.
Yeah.
I will say there are
And,
two people
you
in Dota who I really trust when it comes to palate. It is you and Fogged. You two both have eaten a lot of high quality food. I know that you can tell the difference between good food, okay food, and shitty food. And I trust whenever you tell me something's good, I go out of my way
I
to
feel like
try
this
it.
puts me under a lot of pressure.
It
I-
does.
I have to perform every
Yeah,
time now.
you better.
Yeah.
But I appreciate that.
It's true.
That's
I don't
good to
remember
hear.
what event it was, but I remember you were showing me some. I was a little too drunk to appreciate it, but some sort of different alcohols that were different flavors. There was a vanilla one.
Oh,
and
it's definitely Galliano.
it was Galliano. That was it.
Oh yeah, Galliano, man. That is the shit.
I was taken aback by your passion for the sophistication of the flavors.
Galliano was amazing. I mean, I was also, to be honest, that was the after party of the Bucharest major,
Oh yeah, not this recent one. The one
the one before.
Right.
way back.
And I remember in my mind, Galliano was one thing. It was a vanilla liquor. And then we got there, and they had 4 different types, and I was like, holy shit, I have to try them all, for sure. And we tried all of them. One of them was with vinegar, and I was like, this sounds weird. Let's do it. And it was good. Like, all of them were great.
I'm intrigued.
And the bartender there was very friendly and very encouraging. I think
Encouraging.
she had a couple with me, too.
Yeah.
I don't think she
Probably.
was into me, though.
No.
Oh,
I wasn't
sorry,
really into her either, but we had a good time.
It was Europe though, so not working for tips, I guess. She was just looking for something to do.
Yeah, that's another thing that's totally different when we speak about differences
Oh,
in culture.
yeah, the
That is
tipping.
one of the biggest differences between the U.S. and Denmark, for example. in
And you
just
guys are
overall general culture.
zero tipping.
Basically, what you generally do in Denmark, if you go to a restaurant, the waiters are paid. They have a salary. Always, legally, they have to be paid by salary. From what I know, the majority of the time that you tip the restaurant. You don't tip the waiter. They take the money, but it goes to the restaurant. It's basically a way of saying, I appreciated this experience, and the business profits.
Okay.
But
That's
but
interesting.
the waiters are salaried, as far as I know. I don't know what the policies are. Maybe for some restaurants the waiters get a percentage of the tip. Maybe in some places they get all of it. But I don't think legally it's theirs. I'm pretty
Gotcha.
sure it goes to the business. So generally, what you do is you go to a restaurant, you pay an amount. The amount you see it cost on the card is what it costs. You know what you get. You don't have to like add 20% in your head and be like,
Yeah.
or do I add 18 because this is an average place? Am I expecting to be let down, so I add 15%? Like, you don't really have that thing. You just go and you know what things cost. And then if you like your experience, you can tip. It's never required. And it's not something that they're like tips are greatly appreciated or anything. Generally, it just doesn't say it anywhere.
It's just not even.
Sometimes, to give an example, generally you round up. So let's say you go and have a meal for 950 krona, which you could divide by 6. So let's say that's
Yeah.
like $150 or something.
Right.
Yeah.
if you really liked it and it was a good experience, sometimes maybe you're like, the waiter was nice, the food was great, it exceeded my expectations. You round up to 1,000.
Yeah,
That's it. That's
Right.
like $9.
Right.
Yeah.
That would be what you would tip on top of 150.
I see. It's just like
You round up. That's what my dad generally does, for example, when he takes
Okay.
us out for dinner.
Do you find that the service is better though in America? That's the original idea, is that the tip incentivizes waiters to hustle, so the service is better. Do you think that there's any truth there?
I think it's different. I think if you took American waiting culture and you put it to Denmark, I think people would find it worse than what you usually get, because it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Something that I feel when we go a couple of places at least that we've been to, I felt overweighted.
Yes.
It's like they come to my table too much. They care too much. Just bring me my food and leave me the fuck alone. I'm talking to people I know and like. I don't need you to come and ask me 3 times if the food is good. Do you want another drink? Do you need this? Do you need that? If I need something, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to come to me all the time. And the reason they do it is that they feel like they need to do something extra. And in the U.S., it's seen as something good. So if you do it more, you're more engaging, you're really trying. Oh, that's nice that they're taking care of me. In Denmark, the expectation in a restaurant is you go, you order your meal, they take your order, say thank you, they leave, they come back. If it's a fine place, they will present you your food and tell you what it is if you want.
If you want.
They won't necessarily do it. Some places they ask
Yeah.
if you want a presentation or not. Some places they just do it. If it's a fine place, it's like the norm. So they will just say what it is,
Right.
and then they will go. If it's like a really fine place, they might come in, or a fine place, they will notice if your glass of wine is emptying up. They will go and refill it for you maybe, but generally very limited.
That's where I know you've described this to me before, and other Europeans have, where that American charm comes off as fake sometimes. When it's like, listen, I know you don't really care about my meal this much. Just give me a little space here.
Yeah. I mean, you just got to be real, right? And it's fine. Like, I think it's fine that I know these people are performing a job. I know they're doing their job. Some of them like it more than others.
Yeah.
You don't have to put on a face for me.
I
would appreciate it if you're having a shit day and you don't come to my table. What the fuck do you want? You know, like that would be nice. Like you could just have like a decent amount of courtesy, but just be friendly. That's all. That's fine.
I remember the first time I met Kips, it was like TI5 or TI6, and we went to a grocery store to buy some like over-the-counter sushi or something, and we were at the deli, and I just had that classic exchange of like, hey, how's it going? Oh, it's going pretty well. We're here for the tournament. Oh, cool. That sounds awesome. What can I get you? And we walked away, and immediately she was like, I'll never get used to that. Like, what are you talking about? She's like, that whole thing you just did there, that unnecessary conversation with that stranger you're never going to see again, why pretend to care about how you doing? You don't really care about how they're doing. I'm like, I don't know. It's just kind of what you say. But she was like, yeah, but I see that as like, why are these two people being so fake to one another? When you're like, you have this social contract of we're both going to smile for 10 seconds and pretend to care each other's day. There's this like known we're both going to say some generic like, oh, it's going great or it's fine or whatever. There's no follow-up, and then we get to business. It is a little bit weird. I see why to outsiders it's strange that you just tack on these pleasantries. You don't even listen to the response.
JJ gets mad at it too.
Yeah, you know, how are you doing? I immediately stop listening after I say that because I know they're going to go, oh, you know, it's pretty good. And I'll go, wow, that's great to hear. And then that's the end of it every time.
That's like my favorite American saying. I think I've said it once since I got here this time. I don't remember the context. Good for you. That's like the ultimate. You just said something, and I don't give a shit. You know,
good for you.
That's like good. That's good for you. I couldn't care less. It's not good for me. So, but great that it works for you. You know, that's that's an interesting saying. I don't know. I feel like sometimes it actually is applicable, though. That's the thing about that saying is if you genuinely care about something someone says and it's nice, and you're like, oh, that's great, good for you, you know? But a lot of the time it's just, oh, good for you.
Yeah, like, oh, that's good for you. What about for me?
Sick story. Cool. Wow. All right, boys, it's time to wrap this thing up. That
was a great talk. How much Dota did we talk? Like 10%.
Hey, no, we had a pretty long block at the start.
It's about half Dota. That's pretty good by our standards. I think it's a good spread.
I love talking about culture and stuff.
Yeah,
I
it's not supposed to be about Dota.
It's always interesting to talk about like differences in culture and norms and whatnot.
No,
it's
I love that.
You learn something about different places, and that's enlightening.
I find it to be
like
eye-opening.
tome of knowledge.
Exactly. I always just
enlighten. Did you know that?
What's that?
That when you use a tome of knowledge, it says enlighten. That is the
That's
active
the name of the
ability on a tome
I've been
of
enlightened
knowledge.
now that I've read the tome.
We know them all now. Do you know what it is for cheese?
Nom nom nom.
It's fondue.
Fondue.
It's
Fondue
actually
is the use.
Oh,
You just
nom nom is the
fondue it.
text on it.
Yes.
Oh, right.
You weren't,
That's
weren't
the
too far
lore.
off.
That's
Yes.
the lore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've learned them all on our casts. Do you know what it is for a fairy fire? I could win a quiz on this.
You really
I
could.
feel like
Go
I
to
know this
Jeopardy.
one actually. Imbue.
Oh my God, it is. Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
I remember
wow.
That is
Wow.
probably one of the hardest
That's like the
ones.
hardest one I had.
Yeah. I actually couldn't remember on the spot.
Damn. Wow, so much for my
I
quiz.
could only remember my stupid answer, which was consume Fae or something like that.
Tango is devour, is that right?
That sounds about right.
I think
Tango should be deforest.
Deforest. Sounds pretty good.
trees.
I haven't actually looked at Tango, but I heard someone else say that, so
Yeah.
that sounds true.
In Dota 1, it was called Ancient Tango of Essifation.
Really? that is a
was the name of the
fantastic
word.
name.
Essification.
Most of the names in Dota 1 actually were longer for a lot of items. It's like Kellen's Dagger of Escape instead of Blink Dagger.
Oh yeah.
Ah.
They all had names to them.
So they were all basically Yule's Scepter of Divinity.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was called Ancient Django of Endurance, the drum. It was a
Oh,
Django.
the
It was a
Django.
specific type of drum.
I remember hearing people call that when I
a
first
good
started
memory.
playing, but no one says it anymore.
Is it Django?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one fell
I think
off.
that fell off. There's some things
Still
that just stick,
Lothar's
though.
is still kind
Yeah,
of there.
Lothar's is still the number one thing that has never changed is people call Furion. That's
Yeah.
kind of funny.
Furion and
I was
Nakes.
just gonna say
I
that.
think Nakes too is
Nakes,
really
yeah.
common.
Furion and Nakes. In Dota 2, he is called Nakes though. I think, but in Dota,
Oh, is that his name?
yeah, I think he's
Life
called Dota 2.
Stealer.
But in Dota 1, Furion is like derived from Blizzard.
Oh,
lore.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
In
I got
Dota
you.
2, I can quiz you. What do you think he's actually called? Nature's Prophet. He has a name. It says in his lore what his name is. It's actually
Really?
It's pretty cool. I tried to make it a thing for like one day and then I gave up.
I actually don't know what it is. I have no
What's
clue.
it start
He's
with?
called Tequoia.
Tequoia. Like,
Tecquoia or something.
so like a sequoia tree.
like
Tequoia.
17 vowels.
Huh.
It's like Greenlandish.
Tequoia.
Finnish.
Tequoia. the
Sounds like
nature's
a
prophet.
car.
I think Tequoia. Let me just look this up.
Yeah,
I'm
Google
curious
it,
now.
dude. You gonna close Twitch chat again?
Yeah, almost. Nature's Prophet, Dota 2.
The other
Check.
Potom is another one. She's Marana now.
Just
I guess is she
throw
still Marana, the priestess of the moon?
I'm really curious. About
Nature's Prophet was
Tequoia.
originally named Tequoia in Dota 2, but this was changed for unspecified reasons. Oh, sounds like
so you
half the
were
stuff in Dota.
really deep in the lore.
Wow.
It doesn't show anymore, really. I thought it was
So
showing in
now
his
he's
name.
just nature's prophet.
He's just Nature's Prophet. I guess Tequoia didn't really catch on. If I would have pushed for it more, it might have become a thing.
Wow. Maybe.
So we lost a piece of the lore. Slacks is going to hate me for that.
Wow. That's brutal.
Yeah.
That's brutal. Yeah. A lot of the old Dota words have started to die off. You're right.
You know why the hero's called Windrunner, right?
Well, Sylvanas
Sylvanas
Windrunner.
Windrunner.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Wind Ranger in Dota.
Yes. That
Yeah,
was,
and it was Windrunner in
It was
Dota 2.
Windrunner in the start.
Yeah, for
was
a
that
long
the last
time.
change? Was that actually the very last one to get rid of the Blizzard?
No, Skeleton King.
Wraith King
Oh.
came after Wind Ranger.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Wraith King was after.
Yeah.
Pretty
So that
sure.
And I don't know, I feel like there's like a borderline thing where some things you shouldn't need to change. Like Skeleton King, I feel like, would they really have sued over Skeleton King? If
Well-
they called him Leoric, that's a different story.
Yeah.
Leoric,
But
yeah.
Skeleton King, come on.
That seems a little too
that could
generic.
be in literally
He's so
anywhere.
iconic, though. I don't know. I understand why they did. It makes me sad because he looked awesome.
Yeah.
And I
You're right,
miss
though.
the one true king.
Yeah, IP claims get weird with stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah, people call Brewmaster Panda still as well.
That's true. I still call him Panda, but he
Yeah.
kind of looks
He
like a
looks
panda.
like a panda.
He's a panda in Dota 1.
Yeah.
In Dota
Was
2,
he the
he's like a...
He's like a-
Pandarian
He's
Brewmaster?
like
Yes.
a cat.
Yeah.
Because Brewmaster, the Pandarian Brewmaster is actually a regular hero in Warcraft 3.
Right.
It's one of the
right.
heroes from the Neutral Tavern that
Right.
you can buy.
Yeah.
What is it he has? He has Breathe Fire, the one that Dragon Knight has. Then he has, I think, Drunken Haze, actually, as an AoE blind. He
I
has
think
that as
so.
a regular
Like it
Warcraft 3.
was. It used to be.
I
Yeah.
didn't buy that
I mean,
hero
it's still
very
a,
often.
is it? I forgot. Is it
No,
not
it's
AoE?
all just
No, it's not
single
AoE
now.
anymore.
Yeah.
It was AoE, and then they removed it and made it stronger for single target or something. Yeah, it's been changed a couple times. I don't play Brew.
Wow. Man, you're making me want to play Warcraft 3, dude.
Dude,
I
that
ne-
is
I
also
never
an iconic
played it.
game.
I never
They
had
just
that game.
speedrun it on SGDQ, man.
Did they really?
They speedrun the undead campaign of Reign of Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Speedrun in like 50 minutes.
That's
I
impressive.
think.
Missed out.
That's really
Dude, the
impressive.
campaign of Warcraft 3. If you guys have played Dota 1 and you have Warcraft 3, you owe yourself the experience of playing the campaign of Warcraft.
I think
great.
Warcraft 3, like Frozen Throne, it was truly a masterpiece game. Just all of it. The way
Yes.
the clans work, the chat channels, the tournaments, the ladder, the DK, the different game modes, a range team, 3v3, just all of it. It was an awesome game. The user experience for the time was unmatched. So
Yeah.
good that Blizzard didn't realize how good it was, and then they continued to fuck it up with every progressive game after World of Warcraft after that.
Yeah,
You know,
but-
StarCraft 2 launched with no public chat channels because they on the original BattleNet there was like channel sex. That was one of the classic ones where people would go in there and talk about lewd things. Blizzard hates that shit.
Yeah.
They're like, how do we quell this? I know. Let's just remove the chat channel.
So they tried doing that like Hearthstone, right? Because you can't talk to your opponent unless you add them or whatever in
Yeah.
Dude,
Hearthstone.
and that's like the thing. It's the same in Fortnite. There's no communication. You can't write
Right.
to people.
Yep, it's
You
a
know,
toxicity thing.
It's like, I don't know, man. I can
like,
understand
why
that
not just
design's
play
there.
against a bot?
I feel like you're taking a lot of the charm away of multiplayer games. Communication to me is a big part of gaming.
Yeah.
Me too.
And
100%.
I think, you understand the perspective. You want to remove like the abuse and stuff that people have a bad experience or whatnot. But Like for me personally, I think it's a shame because I can kind of filter it for the most part.
Yeah,
people
same.
are idiots, and that's fine. And
We
It's
have that
just-
skill though.
just-
We're like we're hardened, you know.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, sometimes it still affects you a bit, but that means you care at the same time. Like that's if you're playing a game and something communication-wise affects you, it means you're invested. And that can be both good and bad. I'm not making a good case for flaming people.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. But it's just if you have this reaction, it means you actually care about the experience you're having.
Right, and it's a spectrum, right? And it's a shame that the most extreme cases are the ones we focus on, where like there is a degree of like healthy flame, like talking shit in a way that isn't like crossing the line, but just outplaying someone and being able to say you suck, stuff like that. But it adds to the experience. It's like Cinderen's saying for me, Dota is all about the communication. I talk the entire time. If the game's easy, I'm telling jokes. If the game's hard, I'm trying to lead my team to victory. That's what makes it fun for me. That's why I don't play Skyrim, because it's just sitting there by yourself killing skeletons.
Yeah.
Imagine Dota without chat. Just try to imagine that.
I wouldn't play.
Everyone is muted.
I wouldn't
full
play.
on muted.
Yeah,
No
I don't
chat
either,
wheel,
no.
no alt chat, but you have to work together. That's like playing as a 4-man party in Fortnite. Just that you play with friends, but you can't technically queue for 4-man alone and get matched with random people.
Right, and there's no
It's like-
voice option at all.
There's nothing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
No,
there is actually. I think there's VoIP.
Right.
You can talk to your party. That's true. You can voice chat. I think.
Okay. All right.
But that's it. Like
Still.
there's no. You can't talk to the rest of the people. You
Mm.
can't talk to the rest of the game. I don't know. I don't like it.
I don't like it. Yeah.
Okay.
All
we
right.
wanted to wrap up. My
Put a
bad.
bow.
I
Well,
had
we
to
can do
lay
whatever,
okay.
but it's dinner time. Let's wrap this baby up. We'll watch some more Dota. We're getting to the tail end of the hub. I don't know what that means to the rest of us.
He's done today. We'll be live in like 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah, we
probably.
got another Phil segment tonight. God's called in the Phil crew, so
Yep.
the
There you go.
experts.
The Philharmonic Orchestra.
That's right.
The
Very nice.
the
Man, look at
double
this guy.
header.
All these puns. Who do you think you are?
You can take it. You can take Philharmonic.
Okay.
If you like it. You
All
can
right.
take it.
I'll use
Just
that tonight.
A little credit would be nice.
So how many viewers do we have? 180 people will know that I'm stealing.
Nah,
that
they won't
during
be
the
awake.
panel.
They won't be
It's
awake
true.
for that.
Yeah, you guys be asleep.
All these Euros will be sleeping. But
So.
Sin?
EG won, by the way.
Oh, they did.
That's a bit of news for you.
Congrats to EG.
EG beat
Spoiled it.
Complexity,
Oh wow.
I think.
I saw
And
it.
Immortals beat Optic.
Yes.
Yes.
So what?
So that means
this
Cole
is
Optic.
This is quite something. Can't wait to see you wins in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Dota.
Ouch.
Oh,
So
there might
we're
be
gonna
some
have
closer games.
another NA team going to TI soon, right? Isn't that what's on right
Yeah,
now?
that's-
That's why nobody's
that's
watching
happening.
us and they're all watching
yeah,
us.
get
This-
over
winner,
there.
the
this
winner's
TI
final.
match.
Yeah. What are you
qualifies a
guys
team.
doing?
Yeah, this is good. Hey, whoa. Big
Goodbye.
parts. But no, Cinderin, always a pleasure. Thank you. You guys know where to find him on Twitter at Cinderin Dota. Capital N.
Game's still going. Says
Capital
Coddle
N.
guy.
Coddle guys, he's
Oh.
dual wielding. That's good.
Okay, somebody just wrote EG1, but it was a troll. I got you baited really hard. apparently. So the game is still on. My bad. EG
guy.
Complexity is still on. And 72 minutes, so it's a close game for once. That's
Okay.
exciting.
Well, we're going to go turn that on. You can find this, Zyori.tv or the Moonduck YouTube. You know where Trent is, Canada, at TrentPax on Dota, as
Yeah.
well as on Twitter and all that other good stuff.
Go,
Let's-
go
daughter.
Leafs. Yeah.
Go Leafs. And
Whoa, sports.
go
That's
Denmark.
fair.
How do I cut the local on this? Oh, there we go.
Probably
All right.
stop local recording.
Bye-bye.